Hello, hello. How is everyone? It's Hipika, your one and only Shisa. Gosh, what a day it has been. How's everyone's day? How's everyone's evening? It is Friday, or as some people call it, Friday. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, boop my fucking nose. Thank you for that, booples. I do enjoy the booples. I will have to get up in a second because I am making tea, and I put the pot on the stove, and I totally did not forget to turn on the burner when I put the pot on there. So I went to go check and I was like, why isn't this shit boiled? And it's stone fucking cold because I didn't turn the fucking knob. So there's that. Cold tea. Well, this is the South, I do declare. There we go. Just gotta give it a second. Okay. I am glad I'm playing a game that doesn't require it to take off into flight in order to function. Seems like we have one more scene before we can go into the next summer, which is the finale. So we should be able to finish this tonight, hopefully. Not that I necessarily want it to end, but just because I don't want it to end awkwardly and I have to continue it on another episode and have it be super short. At least that's what I'm hoping so. I'm hoping so. But yeah, we're gonna get back into Our Life Beginnings and Always. This is the base game. So what we're playing doesn't have any add-ons. All of this is just extra DLC stuff. You can purchase DLC stuff on Steam. And like there's marriage packages, there's like vocal packages, things like that. Oh, let me pull up my Twitch real quick, and then I will get up and check on my tea, because I'm pretty sure it is boiled by now, because it has been 5 minutes, and I know that if I leave it to sit any longer, the pot will turn into dust, because I have forgotten that before. Oh, you're playing Hollow Knight. I have played that game maybe like once. And you're gonna semi-lurk, that's perfectly fine. You do not have to give me all of your attention all of the time. I am happy to be your background noise, so by all means, lurk away, lurk away. Alright, well. Let me go snag my tea. Yeah, it's pretty good, but awesomely long. That is a great way to describe that game, honestly. Hey, Syngra, hi! Welcome. It's good to see you. Alright guys, I'm gonna be right back. I am grabbing my tea and then I am coming back, I promise. Alright. I told you I'd be back. Did you guys miss me? I told you it wouldn't be long. Alright, so let's go ahead and hang. Now, I was a little scared I was going to either have to cancel or delay stream because... Thank you! Thank you for the welcome back. You totally thought I'd never leave you. Not high and dry at least, but I was worried I was gonna have to either cancel or delay stream today because my doggies got out. My doggies got out, and I had to go look for them. I was really worried, but thankfully they got hungry and they came home. But I was really worried sick about them. I was actually panicking. I was literally sprinting, and I was actually in a a real terrible mood today. It was awful. Like, I was really down in the dumps today, to put it lightly, and then I started running around. I was sprinting. I was looking for my dogs. I was distressed, and then I found my dogs. They came back on their own, the little assholes. And then and then so I'm getting ready for stream. I'm done with my shower, and I feel so like relaxed, and I'm singing, and I'm having a grand old time. I'm having a good old time, and then I'm like, wait, it's been so long. Well, not so long, but it's been hard to stick to an exercise schedule. And I realized, hey, you know, maybe I should exercise more, because that has been quite the mood booster for me. I really do need to exercise more, not only for my health, but for my mental health as well. I do need more cardio. Sadly, I can't really do that on stream, and I really don't want to shake the floor with jumping jacks or anything like that. I mean, I guess I could do burpees, but I don't want to die either. I want to at least be able to talk in the stream. I don't think you guys need me breathing into the mic. Alright. Habika exercise stream, streaming Wii Fit. I mean, I do have, what's it called? I have one of those, I have a Ring Fit. I have a Ring Fit, so maybe I can do a Ring Fit stream. Walking is better than you'd expect. You just have to do a brisk walk, and you gotta, like, move your arms. You gotta, like... For me, I have two dogs weighing me down and trying to pull me down at the same time, so I'm getting both of my... I'm getting my arms and my legs. That's great. It's great. But I would really love to be more, like, defined, because I may be thin, but I'm like marshmallow. I'm so squishy. I'm so squishy, and when I run, like, even though I'm pretty fit, even though I'm fit, my cheeks are so chubby that, like, they jiggle when I run. So I feel like I need a sports bra just for my face because of how much my cheeks jiggle, especially if I go down a hill. I'm running down a hill and my cheeks are like womp 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 womp. Alright, here, let me hop into the story. But in case you're wondering what kind of tea I made apple cinnamon tea because Livy made me absolutely obsessed over this fucking tea. I've been hyper fixated on this tea, I think, for like a month now. Alright, I'm gonna start reading now, okay? I'm gonna start reading now. You grabbed a large beach towel from off your bed and stuffed it into the bag. You had already packed your water bottle for your upcoming beach hangout session. The stars had aligned and somehow everyone was free today. Miranda had set things up with several bubbly phone calls between you, Cove, and Terry to find the time to hit the beach. You were hoping that this would be a fun time together. I thought he was naked. I didn't see the shorts. I freaked out for a second. I was like, whoa! At least you can't see his hips, right, Twitch? Cove said on your... I made you obsessed with matcha tea. Well, matcha tea is pretty good. Especially if you add, like, some sweetened condensed milk. And some actual milk. Cove jump scare. There is a pin, actually, of, like, Cove coming through the window, and it's supposed to be really cute. And it is really cute. It is, really. But the way it is, it just makes me think he's coming in. He's coming into your windows, whether you like it or not. You should really keep your doors unlocked, lock your windows, lock up your daughters. Here comes Cove. Cove sat on your windowsill and kicked one of his legs in the air idly. He already had the swimsuit on, and his towel was bundled under his arm in a misshapen ball. He'd shown up earlier that morning with a surprising amount of enthusiasm. We already can't read, hello? With a surprising amount of enthusiasm, he was chatting as you caught up to his preparation. But seriously, I didn't find my swimsuit this morning. I looked everywhere, and it disappeared. I had no idea what I was gonna do. Let's see. You don't have to wear a swimsuit to be on a beach. What happened to all your other swimsuits? Oh, just like the sand pail, bring up the... You totally didn't just lose your stuff again.
Seriously?
Very funny, Hibika. That was different. And I was 8. Anyway, I don't know why I was in the bathroom when I never put it in there. He gave a small smile and readjusted the towel in his arms. You now could see that it had been folded at some point, but then rolled up and carried without much care.
I'm so glad.
But I'm just glad I found it. Would have been crappy to lose my favorite trunks. I would have had to go to the beach naked, have that shit flying around. It was nice to see Cove so happy and comfortable in what he was wearing. You walked over to your dresser and mused about how you picked out your own swimsuit. I get to pick my swimsuit? Your height had complicated your swimsuit shopping. Not many swimsuits were well-fitting on someone to... What the fuck do you mean? There's a lot of choices for me. And then for the shape of my body... What's wrong with my body? There's nothing... Oh, I'm supposed to... I mean, I would say... I don't have... I'm not heavy set, I'm not chubby, I don't have curves, I'm built like a fucking rectangle, I'm slender. And... I had my body was so... Okay, I have a little bit of muscle definition. I'm not gonna be that mean to myself. I'm not... Okay, I'm not soft like a marshmallow. Maybe, well... Poking around. I mean... Okay, I would... Okay, I have a little bit of muscle definition. I'm not gonna be that rude to myself. Not me feeling myself up for a video game, by the way. Not me absolutely just manhandling, like, my thighs and my fucking arms just so I can figure out what body type I have. Your build was toned and firm with muscles that were there, though slight in size. I mean, I wouldn't say that either, but I'm not, like, soft. I'm, like, in between soft and... But, like, you can tell I have... You can tell you're doing the same. You can tell that I have muscles, though. Like, they're there. I mean, you have to squint a little bit, but they're there. You gained more muscle in the recent years. It was clear when compared to how you were when you were younger. It's also called growing up.
Are you okay?
You alright? Yeah, sorry. He's just watching me feel myself up, and he's like, you good? You got to squish, so I'm well, no, I mean... Okay, so I am squishy. But I'm not, like... But see, the muscles are there, especially, like, in my arms. And my legs. I used to have abs, and I kind of miss them. But I love sugar too much, so I can't have any abs. I love sugar. Oh, yeah, I was just, feeling myself up, don't worry. What things? Just myself and my body, really. His eyebrow rose at your admission of self-reflection. And what do you think? What did you think of who you were? You considered your identity further. I mean, I always felt sure about myself. Being called her was right for you. And... They were noticeable enough to appear on your silhouette. But that was about it. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay to be an adult and have no boobs. That's fine. Nothing there. Could be worse. Let's see. Wish they were small. Definitely not. Wish they were bigger. Might get implants. You used the binder. You used the binder. You left them as they were, but I mean... I don't want implants, but I do wish they were, like, a little bit bigger. I mean, I'm just gonna say I like the size that they have. People had a lot of their... Yeah. People had a lot of their identity wrapped up in their physical form. It shaped their self-image. Let's see. I was confident in mine. I was really content. I hated my body. Nah. No. I mean, I'm comfy. Honestly, it's between these two. Sometimes I'm really comfy, sometimes I'm confident, and sometimes I like hate, especially with hormones come into play. Like right before that time of the month, right before my period, I'm just kind of like, wow, this game really making us self-conscious about our bodies. I don't think it means to. It's just trying to figure out what you want your character to look like in the game. But I mean, it really does have me thinking. I'm just like, oh wow, I really don't like the way I look. And then sometimes I'm sitting there and I go, man, I look hot today. I look absolutely fired today. And then other times I'm like, wow, I really don't like the size of my nose. Like, it is fucking huge. Look at that honker. Huh, hey? Like a fucking cloud nose. Like fucking cloud nose. Hey Andy, how's it going? Why are you hiding in the porta potty? Your body was you, and it was a good one that you felt content in. It is a good body. You used to feel not as good when you were younger, but you had since grown into your body. You felt more at home now and less uncomfortable. You focused on Cove again. He smiled at you and tilted his head, a question still in his eyes. He was waiting for you to come to an answer, but before you could, you had something to say to him. I'm just gonna ask, what do you think about me? I'm not gonna ask, you think I look pretty, right? That's a loaded question. About how I look, I mean. Cove smirked a little, his eyes taking you in easily. Fishing for compliments, Hibika? You look great. Everyone knows that, including you, by the way, unless that's changed. I'm gonna blush. You felt your cheeks heat up and looked away. Cove shook his head. His hand went up to try to unsettlingly cover his smile. I was kind of worried you were so in your own head because something was wrong. Guess not. Glad.
Hey.
Hey, Hibika. Cove gave a bent smile, pointing to your arms. You're looking... Oh my god, I should have picked this! I am not toned! I am like... I'm looking toned, well thank you. I did 25 push-ups. I'm just kidding, I can only do like 15. By the way, I know you guys, and I am not making push-ups a redeem. Because no matter how high the price, you guys would take turns in saving to torture me every single day. Yes, I did run today. I did. I need to do it more. I need to do it like, not every day, but like at least like 5 times a week, honestly. I like taking 2 rest days from cardio. Cove suddenly flushed when he realized how boldly he complimented you. He stood by it, even if he was a little red. You were a little taken aback. That came out of nowhere. You glanced at yourself. Jump on the bed already, this one. No, Andy, you gotta take it slow. You gotta take it slow. Honestly though, my favorite exercise has got to be dragon flags. If you don't know what those are, just look them up. They're very interesting because I like rolling. I like rolling around. I like rolling around on my back when I exercise. Oh, that sounds a little weird. But, you know, when you see the exercise, you'll get it, you know? It's basically... It's hard to explain. Just look it up. Just look up some goddamn dragon flags. Fuck. Let's see. I am gonna flirtatiously stretch. You fluttered your eyelashes and slowly stretched your arms out in front of him. Your sleeve fell down and instead of fixing it, and you let it stay that way. I thought we were wearing a bathing suit. You looked Cove straight in the eye as you openly displayed your arm. This hurts me because I'm not trying to lie to him. The fact that I'm absolutely flexing my marshmallow arms right now. Is killing me inside. It's absolutely killing me inside, and he's eating it up. He is eating it up. Cove turned bright red and jumped to his feet. His towel dropped to the ground as he practically flew over to you. He looked at your arms and then tried to nudge them back down. You casually flex. Yeah, you can stop now, really. What, are my pillowy arms too much for you? He laughed nervously and flailed a little. You took pity on him and stopped displaying yourself. You got the reaction you wanted. He retreated back to sitting on the windowsill and retrieved his towel. Head hung low to try to hide his expression. Finally, you felt that was good enough of the topic for one day. You went back to your original goal before you got sidetracked. You needed to pick what you wanted to wear to the beach. Let's see, would I rather snuggle every time I try to sleep or become an absolute immovable statue every time I sleep? What? Oh, struggle! I can't fucking read. I think I would rather become an immovable statue when I sleep. I would love that because I am an incredibly light sleeper. So sometimes it takes a lot for me to go to sleep. I have to be absolutely exhausted before I can finally go to sleep. It is so hard sometimes. And honestly, streaming helps a lot when it comes to putting me to bed because I get socially tired as well. That's not having to say that my social battery gets drained, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. But because I am interacting and I'm doing something and I'm engaging with people, that in a way is a form of activity, and it wears me out in a good way. It's like having a good workout and you finally get to relax. That's essentially what it is. Let's see. I want to wear wetsuit, Speedo, a Speedo with a top, two-piece. Let's see, I like tankinis, honestly. Which begs the question is, I wonder what summer Hibika should look like. What kind of swimsuit I should wear? While you dug around in your drawers, you tried to think if there was anything else you were missing. Definitely sunglasses. Sunglasses are a must. With that taken care of, you held your outfit together and looked to Cove. Orange with white flowers. I mean, like, what kind of style? I was thinking flowers, honestly. That's kind of a given. That's kind of a given for me. But in terms of style of swimsuit, there's so much to choose. I used to work at a, I used to work at a swimsuit boutique in California, down by, Mission Beach. And, gosh, while the clientele was pretty prissy, I had to deal with some pretty rude customers. There were some nice ones as well, and I enjoyed working with all of the, designer suits. It's amazing what people will pay for just two tiny pieces of clothing, because some of those would go for $500, and I'm saying, like, for the top $500 and for the bottom $500, and sometimes the top would cost more. So sometimes the top would be like $700 while the bottom would be like $500. And then on the cheaper side, the top would be $100 and the bottoms would be like $75 or $50. But gosh, it was interesting learning about all the designer brands. I actually have a favorite swimsuit brand. I believe it's Frankie's. I love Frankie's because they're super comfy and the designs are super cute. I never thought I would have a favorite swimsuit brand, but after working there, I do. And I actually have a Frankie brand swimsuit, and I have a beach dress that I got from there too. It's very wispy, and it actually is white with orange flowers. So, IRL, I have a dress with orange and white flowers. How did you know? He was tapping his shoes on the side of the wall while he waited. He vaguely wondered... Oh, on point. Damn straight. Regardless, it was time for him to go. You weren't going to put on your beachwear with him just chilling there. Why not? You're in my walls. Don't eat all of my cotton candy. Save some for me, okay? I need to change. Cove smiled, content with being kicked out. Alright. Cove lowered himself off the window and strolled past you to get to the door. He lightly brushed his fingers against her cheek when he passed by. Oh, so loving.
Bye.
I'll see you out front. Okay. When you were alone, you got dressed and put your swimwear on. You also checked your beach bag for the final time, and it seemed like you hadn't forgotten anything. No cotton candy, you would. I'm a termite. Well, at least you're getting your fiber in, huh? You left your room and hurried down the stairs, ready to meet Cove. You made sure to lock your front door and walked outside. Cove stood in the road, almost getting hit by a car, looking down and scuffing his feet on the asphalt. When you shut your heavy door, he looked up at you and smiled. Hey! Hi, Miranda and Terry are gonna be here not too long. Terry even texted me earlier saying she was mostly on schedule. What a fucking mood.
Well...
Why don't we just head to the beach and wait for them there? We're both ready. That sounded like a good idea to you. You said as much, and Cove shot off a quick text telling the two of them where you would be. Cove gave you a thumbs up after the message sent. It was a familiar path to walk, and it wasn't long until you reached the shore. Cove laid out his towel on the warm sand. You set up your stuff beside him and looked out into the ocean. I'm gonna take a sip of my tea now. It's the perfect temperature. Oh, that is so good. That warm... Ooh! Ooh! You know that first sip of warm tea? And it like courses through your body and gives you life? That is essentially what this tea is doing to me. Oh my god. Whew! You set up your stuff beside him and looked out to the ocean. The rolling swells hit the shore rhythmically. You had all lucked out. It was a beautiful day. The sky was clear and the waves were good. It was a balmy summer day, but with a pleasant breeze to keep things comfortable. Essentially, it was perfect.
So?
Do you feel like heading into the water? Maybe just walk down the shore? Or would you want to do something here? Let's see. Let's do... I like taking a stroll. I like long walks on the beach. You wiggled your toes in response to the comment and looked off onto the shoreline. Brayden, hello! I feel like I haven't seen you in a hot minute. How have you been, hon? How's school going? Cove nodded, accepting of the plan. He kicked some sand off his towel absent-mindedly. Yeah, sounds nice. You took a deep breath and tasted the relaxing, salty air. Cove caught your eye and gave you a small smile. You chatted a little, before a comfortable quiet settled over the two of you, content to watch the waves as you waited for the others. Luckily, it didn't take too long until you heard shouts. You turned your head to see both Miranda and Terry running straight for you. You've been doing pretty good. I'm glad to hear that, Brayden. Miranda was faster, making leaps and bounds across the sand. Terry followed in her wake, laughing with her towel clutched around her shoulders and flowing like a cape. Miranda started making her jumps more theatric and more precarious as she got closer. Cove waved them on with a bright grin. Cheered. Oh no, I hope I don't fall. Woo! Woo! Literally, woo! Woo! Oh my god, look at her swimsuit. So cute. She's so cute. I love her freckles so much. Oh my god, she's so cute. Woof. Woof woof. Ah, woo! The two officially arrived at Cove's and your setup, looking completely ready for an ocean adventure. They were already in their swimwear and were raring to go. Hey, Terry, Miranda, welcome to our beach.
Hey!
Hey! Hello, hello. She beamed and Miranda nodded with a smile.
Oh yeah!
Man, I am so pumped! Yeah, I'm really glad this worked out. What have you guys been up to here in your town, Cove? Hibika, have we missed things? Cove blinked and then shrugged when nothing he wanted to mention came to mind. We'll do this. Your moms were the same as ever for the most part, although they were definitely still adjusting to you being an adult now. Liz had asked you to take pictures of her latest makeup look the other day. There's nothing too dramatic going on right now. Terry nodded along and mentioned a couple things about her own parents. Miranda brought up her family and shared some wild things her older brother had done. Terry then started talking about her morning and how she'd almost overslept since she'd stayed up too late last night. She bounced on her feet as she spoke. But don't worry about me being tired today. Don't worry about me being tired today. You know I ran on less back during school. Miranda filled in the group about her morning. Apparently, everything had gone smoothly. She met up with Terry on the way here, and you knew the rest. Cove offered a suggestion to the girls. Hey, let's walk while we catch up.
Okay.
Oh yeah, definitely. You felt pleased that Cove remembered what you wanted to do. Sometimes he could be thoughtful like that. What a handsome man. Once everyone's stuff was settled on the beach, the group strolled over to the shoreline. The wet sand was cool under your feet. A wave rushed up and covered your ankles in water. You flinched from the suddenness, but by the next wave you were acclimated. You took another step forward and sank a little into the ground. Behind you, your footprints were soon smoothed by the waves. Your friends chatted as you all walked together. You took turns pointing out cool shells or pieces of sea glass. It was a relaxing jaunt. Hours passed and the group had moved between different activities, some low-key and some more exhaustive. For you, it was another break time. You sat on your towel and sipped some water. Your friends were hard at work burying Terry's full body under a pile. Miranda used her arms to force up sand around Terry's sides. Cove worked on covering Terry's feet, and you took another drink and closed your eyes. Eventually, a shadow passed over you, dampening the light that was still notable even behind your eyelids. You checked to see Cove had joined you there. He knelt down to dig in the pile of assorted beach stuff in the middle of everyone's towel setup and pulled out the sunscreen. Took a seat next to you on his towel. He opened the bottle with a soft pop and began to reapply the cream. Hey. Hey. He ran his hands against his chest to work the sunscreen in, and you might have checked him out a little from the corner of your eye while still sipping some water because you're a little thirsty. Want me to get your bag? Yeah, you can help if you want to. I'd like that. We're getting in there, chat. We're getting in there. We are not bystanders in this relationship. We are getting the fuck in there. Thanks. You scooted up behind your boyfriend and reached a hand around his front so he could squeeze a little bit of sunscreen into your hand. You rubbed your palms together, spreading the cream out more evenly, then began applying it softly to his shoulder blades. From there, you moved to the tops of his shoulders, the nape of his neck, and down his spine. Cove was mumbling the entire time, but you couldn't make out what he said. You might have not even realized he was doing it. The tone of his voice and the look on his face got the message across just fine, however. He was happy. And you were too. Jorbach! Aloha! Let's see, you're trying to catch up with the series before the next installment. You were one episode too late. Oh, that's okay. I'm enjoying the story so far, and I think we are nearing the end. I'm not sure if we're gonna end it this stream, but this is just the base game. There's no DLC added. I am, however, still looking forward to the next game, because this game is amazing. It is... There's so many choices, and it's so in-depth. I've never played a I wouldn't even call it really much of a dating sim. I guess it is a dating sim, but I've never played a visual novel that is so extensive with so many customization choices that make you actually think about it. After he and you finished up, Cove let out a comfortable sigh and looked off into the distance. But how are you, Jorvac? You having a good evening? Or morning? Or day? But then he sighed again. This time in an exaggeratedly disappointed way. You wondered if he was going to sigh again, even more dramatically if you didn't say anything. Let's see, what's wrong? You inspected his face to see if there was anything actually distressing him, but still, he looked like he was exaggerating. You asked anyway since it was obvious that was what he wanted. Cove shook his head, comically despondent. His frown didn't match the sparkle in his eyes.
Don't worry about it.
I'm just becoming another jaded adult, that's all. You motherfucker. Night, it's 2 a.m., which is technically morning. As long as the sun isn't out or rising, it's still night in my book. Now, you were really confused. You waited for him to continue, and his next sigh did not disappoint. It was the most ridiculously sad sigh you had ever heard. Then he smiled a little. Mermaids aren't real. What? That had not been what you were expecting. He continued. You know how much I liked mermaids as a kid. Well, merfolk as a whole. I really hoped that they were out there. I mean, the ocean is a big place, right? They could be somewhere. But the older I got, the more I had to accept it. They were just a fairy tale. Aww. He jerked his head over to the waterline and the rolling waves. They crashed against the shore and then drew back. This is a perfect beach for them. It's pretty and vast and never too crowded. If merfolk did exist, we definitely would have met one by now, or at least we would have heard someone else seeing one, but nothing. He acted as though that result was a true bafflement. He let his head hang. I gotta let that dream go. Let's see. Good for you with that revelation. We sound like a right bitch. You pretended to be shocked and disappointed. Let's see. They could still exist. As you said, the ocean is a big place. AU or Cove turns out to be an amnesiac merman. He does look like he would be a merman. Like, if this... I could totally see this novel taking a turn, and it turned out that he was a merman this entire time. But then again, if it was H2O rules, we would have known by now, because he's gotten into the water so many times. Does anybody remember that show? H2O, it was like a, it was an Australian show about 3 girls that turned into mermaids by the power of the moon. And whenever water touched them, like any form of water, like it could just be a drop, they would turn into a mermaid. There's so many jokes on it. You remember it very lightly. I do like, it was on Nickelodeon, I think. It was one of those, like, live-action ones. I was absolutely enraptured as a kid. But then again, I loved mermaids. I was your typical girl. I liked mermaids. I liked horses. And I had horseback riding lessons. And, I also had an easy bake oven. So yes. Yes, I was your typical girl. Cove chuckled a little to himself. Eyes tilted off to the sea, his face still low. By the power of the moon, Sailor Moon with emphasis on the sailor. In the name of the moon, I will turn into a mermaid. Maybe it's for the best. Let's say a mer person did happen to wash up on shore one day. He looked at you with a faux doleful expression. I would have lost my girlfriend to their magical underwater world. Let's see. Oh yeah, I totally go live under the sea. Oh, that I would do this one because I know Cove would come with me. He would come with me. He would be a merman with me. You're a nice person, but what if they didn't want me? Would you seriously stay on land? Are you sure that's the right call? If a beautiful, kind mer person falls for somebody, I'm pretty positive the sensible response isn't to turn around and say, no thanks, I'm gonna stay on land with a normal guy. But Cove, you aren't just any normal guy. You're my baby boy. You're my baby boy. I would never leave my baby boy. See, there's no one that could make me leave you. I should get to be a mer creature and then I'd invite you to the underwater world. Mer person or not, we're together. Oh. He flushed and fidgeted on the towel. In a desperate attempt to do something, he picked up the sunscreen bottle he had dropped. Cove started playing with the cap, taking it on and off again. His smile seemed to grow before your eyes. I was just trying to joke around, you know. I know you were, but I wasn't. He giggled and continued to look deliriously happy. He had no way of going back to the joke. You couldn't help but feel happy at how much your words meant to him. And then you heard Miranda screech. Your attention immediately switched over to your friends. You saw that Terry had gotten impatient and shifted her legs. The walls Miranda had meticulously been building collapsed into a wet heap of sand. She surveyed the damage critically. We're gonna have to start over on that part. Do you just want to give up on this now?
No way.
No way. The burial must continue. I'll try not to move anymore. Okay, if you're sure. I'll try to fix this. Miranda started to rebury her, and Terry shot her a thumbs up. She realized too late that moving her arm was a bad idea. More of the sand on her crumbled, and Miranda put her head in her hands. Cove caught your eye and started to drag himself up. Seems like we're needed. You agreed and followed him over to the girls. Miranda nodded at you, both with appreciation, and the three of you did your best to finish the job. You all worked out a system of using just enough wet sand to help hold the rest together. With 3 people, it didn't take long for Terry to be entombed. Also, welcome back from the ad, everybody. Terry grinned massively, and Miranda offered high fives. The pile was officially done. Oh yeah! Like the fucking Kool-Aid man. Oh yeah! That is good. Resembling the Kool-Aid. Oh my god! This game has my sense of fucking humor. Oh my god, I even did the fucking Kool-Aid man stance with my fucking arms. Like, oh yeah, like fucking bust ass to the wall. What the fuck? I love this game. This game fucking rocks. What the fuck? It knew exactly what I was going for. It knows. I fucking called it. You're right. You're right, Jorv. Oh yeah. Resembling the Kool-Aid man, she kicked herself out of the ground with gusto. Sand went flying in all directions, and a Terry-shaped imprint was left behind. Miranda yelled again, and Cove chuckled. There probably wasn't a better way to get out of it. The 4 of you continued to have a good time. You went on a shell hunt. Miranda managed to find the biggest, while you found the most colorful, and Cove caught a tiny crab. How did you do that, Cove? You did a bit of everything. There were impromptu games, to just soaking up each other's company. However, after a while, you had run out of water. Drinkable water, anyway. Yeah, don't drink the ocean water. It was decided that you'd head to your or Cove's house. Things were gathered, and you started to cheerfully walk up the road. What's next? I don't have anywhere to go, so it can be wherever. Same. Guess we can keep hanging out. Terry snorted and readjusted her grip on her things. Don't sound too sure over there, Cove. By this point, you could see your house. It hadn't taken you long to make the trip. The conversation continued with everyone throwing out suggestions. Are people hungry? She looked from face to face in the inspection. Cove and Miranda shrugged in concert. No one was overtly opposed to it. However, you weren't really starving, and it wasn't quite a mealtime. We could get dessert. Miranda put a finger to her lip and thought. With a smile, her voice became more confident. Yeah, that'd be pretty fun. Terry considered it, then shot Miranda. She shot Miranda. And then shot Miranda, thumbs up.
Sure.
Sounds great to me. I can definitely go for that. I think that's a good idea. But there's nothing sweet at my house. Your friends glanced at Cove and his place. He shook his head immediately. Dad doesn't have anything good either. I mean, unless you want dessert-flavored protein shakes. Ew, no. She cut in and held her hands up as if trying to ward off something evil. Cove smirked.
Not bad.
It's not that bad.
Nope.
Nope.
Well,
There has to be some kind of sweet shop around here. Let's look it up. Terry nodded and started to dig around in her bag. I like the way you think. Terry continued to rummage in her bag and grew increasingly frustrated. She puffed out her cheeks and knelt down, setting the bag on the ground. With both hands free, she was finally able to fish out her phone. She raised it up in triumph for a brief moment of celebration.
I'm on it.
I'll search for something good. Terry got back to her feet, hefting the bag over one arm, tapping away at her screen in the other. But she assessed Cove from top to bottom. No shirt, no shoes, no service. Cove glanced down at his bare chest and feet. Having not even registered prior, he chuckled a little. I'll grab something. Cove moved over to the house. You looked towards yours. I mean, I'm only wearing a tankini. I'll change while I'm here. You felt like you'd be more comfortable in something more streetwear than beachwear. You inclined your head over to the side. I'm gonna change too.
Sure.
Go for it. We'll wait. Da 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 da. Got the item. You went into your house. No one was home, so you just rushed to your room and dropped off your beach stuff on your bed. Let's just throw something over. That's what I would do. Didn't want to take too long, so you just put on a couple things over top. You brushed off a bit of sand and thought you looked presentable. With that, you stepped back outside. Cove was already there and gathered around Terry's phone with the girls. He'd opted to add just a shirt and shoes, apparently putting in the minimum effort for service. Hello again.
Hey.
You don't really want ice cream, do you? You didn't have a chance to answer. She kept barreling through with her words. Because I'm not into that right now.
That's cool.
Don't mind her. You look nice, by the way. Terry scrolled further, then made an interested exclamation. Oh, what about this place? They sell crepes. That's something you don't see every day. Look how fancy they are. She shoved her phone into your face. It seemed like a cute shop. It didn't show any pictures of the actual building, but the food seemed good. It was one of those places that put a lot of effort into presentation, with the branded wrapping for the crepes and well-applied toppings.
Huh.
Weird. Never heard of it. I haven't either. Mysterious. But crepes are so good. She nodded her approval as Terry admired more of the photos. I'd go. It's not too far, but we could drive. Terry cheered at the success of a plan made, and you all walked to Cove's car. He had to run inside once more to grab his keys. Let's wait. I'm not gonna write wash me. Terry leaned back against the car door as the group stood by for his return. The car beeped and unlocked. Cove ran up to you with his car keys in hand, and his hair slipped into his face and he brushed it back. A shotgun! She clambered into the passenger seat without hesitation. He didn't argue and climbed into the back with Miranda. Terry activated the directions on her phone map and acted as the navigator, directing Cove to the crypts. The GPS tried to get Cove to turn into a non-existent road once, and wanting to do a U-turn instead of just using a left turn. But with Terry looking at the actual path, it went smooth enough. Hey, Miss Valentine, how's it going? You doing the head pat? Oh, yes. I love the head patties. I do loves the head patties. It's so nice. Thank you. You were led to a small stall in a parking lot rather than a full building. That explained why there hadn't been pictures of the Creperies interior, and why it was new to you despite living in this town your entire life. It was a completely new structure that popped up recently. There was a window you could walk up to, and one for cars to drive up to. Cove parked with a laugh.
Come on.
Doing well, just listening to the game and the story. Aww. Well, I hope you enjoy it. I don't think I need to put on a shirt for this, but I still want to try it. Let's go.
What?
Do you not trust us to eat in your car? She gestured to the drive-thru option. Cove shook his head with a snort. I trust some people here, maybe, but wouldn't it be more fun to actually check it out? I mean, I can't argue with that. Do people prefer drive-thru, or do they prefer to walk into places? Like, if you had the option, like if time wasn't an issue, because I know that people use the drive-thru for time, but like, would you prefer just to use the drive-thru on any day, or you like to walk in? I also love to walk in. I also feel like sometimes it's quicker to walk in, depending on the place. Because my local Taco Bell will get your shit wrong if you go use the drive-thru. But it's Taco Bell, so they always get your shit wrong, no matter what you do. You could check the bag at the store, and then check the bag when you get home. Oh, I'm missing 5 items. Oh, I'm missing all of my fire sauce that they put in there. Everyone acknowledged this point and piled out. Terry tried to tease Cove a little, but Miranda started talking about the last time she had crepes. Apparently, they had been a dessert explosion, topped with multiple sauces, powdered sugar, and what Miranda was pretty sure had to be cake icing. That's sweet.
So great.
Literally, it was so good, but I regretted it so much I couldn't finish it, and I really tried. You can do it this time, Randy. Ooh, it's so cute. There were some laughs. When you got up to the menu, you realized there were more than just crepes. There were definitely crepes. Many crepes. However, the stall also had a lot of drinks, as well as teas, smoothies, milkshakes.
Woo!
Jackpot! She grinned and held out her fist for a fist bump. Miranda high-fived it. The two stared at the awkward, vaguely turkey-shaped hand configuration they had made, and slowly put their hands down. Cove's mouth twitched into a smile. You stepped up to order first. You glanced back at the menu. Ooh. Ordered a crepe and a drink. You know what? Life is short. Hello, I'd like to get a crepe and a drink, please. There's a woman who looked a little older than you taking the orders. She smiled back at you, ready to hear the specifics of your purchase. Let's see, you can't use the drive-thru yourself because no license. They do sometimes get it wrong when you use it with oh my god. It's true though. For the crepe itself, you wanted? I want, ooh, we can do, oh, lemon is so good though. You know, I'm feeling lemon. For the filling and toppings you picked. Honestly, it's lemon, so let's do whipped cream. Ooh, whipped cream with lemon. Lemon, ooh, strawberries would be really good. Powdered sugar, condensed milk. And that was all. After you picked the size, you were asked what you wanted to drink. You ordered. Let's see, and with it, you know, now I think, ooh, coffee. Ooh, an ice green tea. An ice green tea would be really good with that. I should make matcha tea. I'm gonna make matcha tea in the morning, I think, guys. I think I know what I'm gonna drink tomorrow. I just need to know what I'm gonna have for breakfast. You could also add a mix or toppings for the drink. What is it? Whipped cream, chocolate syrup, caramel, boba pearls? Are you serious? Oh, boba pearls and condensed milk, thank you! You paid and step aside to let your friends order. Matcha! Yes, matcha! Matcha, matcha, matcha! Coke got a lemon crepe with powdered sugar on top. And the mixed berry. We got the same thing! We got the same thing! Oh, boy has good taste. Boy has good taste. He's my boyfriend for a reason. I'm not your boyfriend. I'm not your boyfriend. I'm not your boyfriend. I have been told that I sound like Chowder from the show Chowder. That Cartoon Network show about the purple cat bear thing. I have been told that I sound like Chowder. And I would like to know if this is true. Because I don't think it's true. I don't want it to be true. Miranda opted for a frappe with caramel syrup and condensed milk. The four of you stood off to the side as you waited for your treats. I heard what you ordered, Hibika. Glad I'm not the only one to go for a drink and a crib. I can pick just one, and why not? You never watched Chowder. You utterly and irrationally despise that show. Honestly, there is no in-between for that show. You either loved it or you hated it. And I'm gonna say that there were some episodes that I thought were hilarious. And then there were some episodes that I absolutely could not get through. Now, one of my favorite shows on Cartoon Network was Flapjack. I fucking loved Flapjack. That show was ridiculous and crude, and I loved every second of it. Exactly, it's gonna be good. Hibika, man, your crepe is gonna rock. I vie for topping appreciation. She held out her hand expectantly. High five. You hit her hand with a satisfying smack. Order for Hibika? Oh, I've gotta get that. You grabbed your order. The others didn't take much time after that. With the goods collected, everyone admired their treats. Terry dug right into hers, and Miranda gave hers a tentative sip. Terry nodded, acceptingly with her mouth completely full. Miranda tilted the frappe over to her with a grin. Terry sipped it and clearly loved it. Chowder, Flapjack, what's next, Taco? How about Gumball? Did anybody watch, what's it called? I forget what the full name was, but it was the show Gumball. About the blue cat. And it made absolutely no sense, but proved a lot of good points. Tawag is the best. I don't think I watched that one. Unless that's a character. Lots of food name shows. It's true, though. Miranda took a huge bite with gusto and sighed happily. Terry seemed satisfied and took another slurp of Miranda's drink. Tawag is... Oh my god. It's an abbreviation. I am so fucking vapid. The Amazing World of Gumball. Holy fuck. My vapidness knows no end. It knows no end. It made the most sense for the points they made and the humor they had. That's very true. They had both only gotten one thing, probably because they knew they'd end up sharing. Tawag is such a funny abbreviation, it really is. Cope went over to you and there was definite interest in his eyes at your order. We got the same thing! So, could I have some? Let's see. Tasted his and shared yours. I would have shared yours, but didn't want to try Cove's. He handed you his crepe first, and you tore off a piece and put it in your mouth. It was tart from the lemon, but the syrupy berry mix brought in the sweetness. The balance between the thin, almost spongy crepe and the juicy toppings made for a unique set of textures. He passed him yours, and he tilted his smoothie over. You took a sip and had to suck up a large strawberry chunk before the actual smoothie came up the straw. It was mostly smooth, with delightful tiny crystals of ice and the occasional bit of fresh strawberry. It matched well with the crepe, even more berryness. He doesn't want to taste my food, he wants to taste me? Maybe. Maybe he wants to taste my crepe. Cove enjoyed his sampling too. He had a giant smile on his face and looked almost disappointed when you swapped back your treats. Oh! Emperor's Tail, thank you so much for following. Glad you're enjoying yourself. My crepe brings all the boys to the yard. How are you doing, Embers? How's it going? With that, Cove started to eat his treats in earnest. You saw him take a huge gulp of his smoothie, and then without swallowing, he added a bite of his lemon crepe. You love this game and you have all the DLC. That's so cool. I don't have any of the DLC, but I'm playing the base game all the way till the end, and then perhaps later on I will buy some DLC. When I have the money, because I am broke as a joke. But I am glad you're enjoying the playthrough nonetheless. DLC or no DLC. Tell me, what's your favorite part about this game, Embers, since you played through it before? And then, I guess no spoilers with the DLC? Because I love that other people have come in here already knowing about this game. And I just get so curious. The VA for oh, yeah. Yeah, he has actually. He has. I really enjoyed that. It took me a minute, actually. It's, gosh. Oh no. I know his name. It's Don't Tell Me. But yes, I know who you're talking about. I'm just really bad with names. But yes, it's, oh gosh. Yes, he has. He is a very sweet person. Yes, he's a very nice person. James! That's his name. James Morningstar. James Morningstar, yes. He is the voice actor for, Baxter. James Baxter. Not James Baxter. Yeah, Morningstar. At least, yeah, James Morningstar. And he has popped in. He is very, very sweet. And I actually had no idea that he was the voice actor for Baxter. And then he, so he, like, responded to a post on Twitter. And I checked him out. I was like, oh, cool. And I'd like to pop in and check out my followers and stuff like that, or people who've liked my posts. And I'm like, why does he have all this? He's a really big... all I could think about was he's a really big Baxter fan. Like, he really loves this guy. Why is there so much stuff about Baxter? And then I read something about him being the voice actor. And I was like, holy shit! He's the voice for Baxter! And then that's when the light bulb clicked on. But yes, he is so nice. I love it when he pops in. Even on the streams when I'm not playing this game. It is so nice to see him. And he always leaves behind some kind words. He's such a pleasant person, honestly. Alright, let's get back to reading. Cove? Terry tore a piece off of her crepe and held it out to Cove.
So?
Care to make a trade? Sure. Instead of continuing to loiter in the parking lot, the four of you started to walk down the sidewalk. There was a lot of sharing going on, with crepe bits and toppings being passed around. You wouldn't be surprised if Terry ended up drinking more frappe than Miranda did. You kept going down the way, eating, drinking, and chatting. What's their nickname on Twitch? It's the same! It's James Morningstar. Oh, and yes, he is so easy to talk to. Honestly, so easy to talk to, and so very sweet. Always telling you to take care of yourself. Don't worry, they'll be back. Your favorite character is Baxter, such a roller coaster. He has such a cool design. Honestly, he has such a striking design with the black and white. Very cool character. You had to realize just how far the group had wandered until you ended up at the now leaving sign. Apparently, you were just about to walk out into the middle of nowhere. Terry took her mouth off Miranda's straw and stopped sipping the frappe. Impossible! Preposterous! How are we already at the end? I always forget how tiny this town really is. Cove chuckled a little and swallowed a chunk of Terry's crepe.
I guess.
It kinda is, huh? It didn't feel that small when we were growing up. Let's see. It always seemed like there wasn't much here. It definitely felt bigger then. There was a time when Sunset Bird had felt huge. It seemed as endless as the ocean. There was always some street you hadn't wandered down. Something new for the tourists. But now, you had realized it was just a pond in this big, big world. Seeing the definite end only reinforced this. Here was the boundary that proved your hometown could be walked out of with ease. I guess that means we should probably head back. One doesn't just walk into Nowhere Land. We're not the only one, Terry. There's 4 of us. Let's see, you had talked to him about playing D&D, and he said if he can get it set up, he would 100% play. That is so cool of him. I'm actually hopefully setting up a D&D arrangement with my Pookies. Those are my friends. I do love to play. It's just finding the time. That's the most tricky part. Terry scrunched up her face, not wanting to acknowledge the bad joke. She decided to ignore it. You so want to get into D&D. It is so easy to get into. You just need a character sheet. Just make a character. You can be anything you want to be. It stinks having to go all the way back. Yeah, but it's not like there's anything out that direction. And if we did keep going forward, it'd be an even longer trip home. I just gave Cove a girly voice. That's okay. Let's see. Jorvak's favorite character is Cove, but also love Elizabeth and Kyra. List every single character. Honestly, they are all really good characters. You started off into the stretch of road, as Cove agreed that he didn't want to go out any further. Can we take a break here first before we turn around? We've been walking for a while and someone finished my drink. Right on cue, Terry loudly sucked air from the straw. It was so good. Miranda looked at her, but Terry remained unrepentant. In the end, though, it was agreed to hang around the sign before heading back to the car. Didn't take long to finish the rest of the food and the drinks. Everyone now gathered up the trash and stuffed it into bags and pockets for now. The group relaxed on the grass. Keeping account of all the cars that drove past, there was not a high number. 14. The newest passing car drove into town from somewhere outside. But as the vehicle came by, it slowed down and you watched it ultimately roll to a complete stop. The black car parked right by the now leaving sign. Everyone exchanged a baffled look. Oh, it's a homebrew! That's so cool! What's it about? I'd love to hear about it. Unless it's supposed to be like a surprise and you gotta keep it like hush-hush. I completely understand. But then the tinted window rolled down and the driver peered out. As soon as you saw his hair, you recognized him. I know who this is. No one else you knew presented themselves so distinctively. Hey, neighbors. Cove openly sighed when he recognized him, afterwards sucking sulkily at the straw his long empty drink. Let's see. You wish you hadn't stopped. Smiled. I'm just gonna say hi. There's nothing wrong with saying hello. You inhaled and tried to be loud enough to account for the distance and the car noises. It's nice to see you again. You literally dreamed it up. That's so cool, though. Somehow he was able to project his voice in such a way that it still sounded smooth, even though he was definitely speaking loudly. You wondered where he'd learned to do that. And you thought about the odd picture this made. A fancy black car pulled over to talk to a group of teens, mostly still in beachwear. Miranda was incredibly confused and shrank back to watch. Terry tilted her head in an unspoken question. Cove made a quick gesture pointing toward Baxter, and a light bulb went off for Terry.
All right.
Ah! It's the new person in that condo. The B-man, right? Yeah, Baxter. Oh, I wasn't sure if I'd actually see him. Her voice was quiet. Miranda usually got shy around new people. Terry was quite the opposite. Incredible. This is perfect. It was revealed to me in a prophetic vision. That's outstanding. I absolutely love that. And you can include that in the writing too. It was told in a prophetic vision of my own mind. This world came to be. Terry hopped up from the grass and ran to Baxter's car, all full of excitement. Behind her, Miranda picked herself up and dusted imaginary dirt off of her clothes. She sent a searching look to you and Cove, to which Cove shrugged. Miranda nodded, and with clenched fists hesitantly followed Terry. Let's see. So in the world, there are gods that went to war. The bad won, the good lost, got put to sleep, and they can't be killed easily. I wonder what you'll be able to do with that story. With that backstory, anyway. Terry bent down to talk to Baxter through his window. She blasted through introductions, and Miranda putting on a shy wave. Cove looked at you. He still clearly had no intention of going over. Cove hates Baxter. Come on, Cove, meet the new person. Come on, let's go and see him. Cove pouted. His cheeks flared out into a childish puff. I don't want to. I don't know what to say.
Fine.
You can go. I'll just wait till he's gone. You really should come. You can do it. The players must wake the good gods or become sacrifices. Ooh, giving a sense of urgency in the story. That's a good touch. Do you want to be the only person who doesn't go see him? Well, why can't you stay here with me instead? You sighed. He was definitely going to be difficult about this. Some days, he really was the same grouchy 8-year-old you met all those years ago. Why? Let's see. Do you really hate him that much? No, I don't hate him. I just get weird around. Oh my god. You like him. You like Baxter. You want to smooch him on his cheeks. I know his forwardness bothers you, but think of him like Terry. She's super friendly and loves to chat with new people. She's doing it right now. Cove is such a cutie. He's absolutely a cutie. Terry doesn't hit on me. What? Terry doesn't hit on me. Terry doesn't hit on you. If that's what he's even doing. Baxter says serious things when I don't think he's actually very serious. That's what bothers me. It'll be alright. He tried to do that less with you. And we'll all be there. With an unnecessarily whiny groan, he relented. Fine, let's go. Slowly, progress forward was made, until you two arrived at the driver's side car window. Baxter smiled welcomely. Hello. Hey. Cove greeted him mildly, his expression cautious. I actually didn't pick this. I let the game pick it for me. Howdy, Baxter. Baxter gestured to Miranda and Terry. I just rented this car for my stay here and was coming back from a bit of sightseeing when I spotted your crowd. Then these two were kindly introducing themselves. Yep, it's only polite. Speaking of polite, Baxter is giving us a ride. I was asking him to. What? Baxter shrugged guiltily? Seeing Cove's dramatic reaction. The offer's open. And we're taking it. Okay. Let's see. I mean, I was just happy to get a ride, honestly. He's really not that bad. I don't know why we're painting Baxter to be so terrible. Regardless of anything else, you didn't have to walk back. That's what counted, and you're grateful to Terry for arranging it. Alrighty, plan made. Let's hop in. You excitedly opened the passenger side door and buckled yourself in. The car was pristine, and you were right near the new car scented air freshener. Baxter had the air conditioner on cold, but low, so it was pleasantly cool inside. A nice relief from the summer sun you had been baking in all day. Let's see. Who is that typical isekai white-haired anime protagonist? Andy, I'm fucking dead. That is Baxter. Baxter's a character you don't see a ton of, but there is DLC for him, so you can see even more of him. Your friends clambered on him back. It definitely seemed like the slightest bit squished back there.
Does that sound alright?
Oh my god, oh! It assaulted my ears, it's so... His voice is so nice, it's so nice. Oh my god, I just remembered. So, like... So James Morningstar comes into the chat, and I have no idea that he's Baxter, right? And Baxter's fucking talking. And I'm just like... And I'm swooning over the voice. I'm just like, oh god, it's so nice. I was like, whoever this voice actor is, I was like, oh, their voice is like, it's like smooth like fucking butter. And he's just sitting there like, I know, right? And
then I have to drink more water.
Hi, Lumi. And after the fact, when I checked him out on Twitter, my face turned as red as a fucking tomato. I could feel the heat in my cheeks rising. Like, I could feel the heat in my cheeks. I was like, oh my god, I just fucking gushed about this guy. I just fucking gushed about this guy right in front of him, and I had no idea. Oh my gosh. What do you mean, which cheeks? The cheeks on my face, obviously. Why the fuck would my butt cheeks get red? How you doing, Lumi? You doing okay? Welcome to my vehicle. I hope everyone is comfortable. And if someone could point me in the right direction, we can be on our way. Terry went back to navigator mode and outlined their journey. It was basically a straight line with one turn at the end into the parking lot. You came back to hearing cheeks? I was just telling, Amber about the time that James Morningstar, who is the voice of Baxter, came into the chat. I had no idea it was him, and I was gushing about his voice basically, unaware, and then I checked him out on Twitter and my face got really red because I just gushed about this man right in front of him. Because of course I would. Aw, Lumi, tired, sick, but home. I'm sorry, Lumi. Baxter nodded up from the driver's seat and pulled back into the road. Luckily, the street was still dead empty. It took no time at all for Baxter to park right next to Cove's car. There wasn't even enough time for a proper conversation to start. The occupants didn't seem to mind. There were smiles all around when Baxter parked next to Cove's car. Whoa! What the fuck, Terry? Miranda clapped quietly as Terry cheered. Cove chuckled nervously. Ooh, it's stretchy time. Let's see. Oh, that's a good stretch. Oh, okay. Ooh. Alright. We are stretching. We are all stretching out. Yeah, oh yeah. Ba ba ba. You can hear the bones crack. Can you really? Livy, can you really? Can you really hear the bones crack? I'm so self-conscious right now. Please. Please don't let them know how old. Don't. No, no, no. No, 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 no. Please don't let them know that I'm actually a hag. It's okay. Everybody knows I'm a fucking hag. Snap, crackle, pop, arthritis. Let's see. You clapped as well. Yeah, you smile. We'll just do it, yeah. We're all hags here. You didn't hear anything, but it's healthy. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with some bone crackage, you know? I like to casually snap my bones in two every now and again. Because sometimes I feel like I need some extra joints. True, we're all like dirty 30 here. I mean, not all of us. Some of us are in our, I think, either late or early 20s. But on that topic, nobody revealed their age to me, especially on YouTube, because I know that you guys can view this, even though I said it's not for kids. So, unless you want to get banned, if you are not over 18, do not reveal your age to me, and better yet, don't talk in the chat, because that can be dangerous for you. You have been warned, but if I don't know, I cannot ban. We've arrived. That was easy. Terry flung open her door and climbed out, ripping the door off of its hinges. Thanks. No babies. No babies allowed. No babies here. I protect the babies by kicking the babies. I'm Hipika Shisa, and I kick babies for their safety. This has been an approved message by Hipika Shisa. Everyone else exited the car as well. The group thanked Baxter with varying degrees of enthusiasm. Baxter himself got out too. Shake the baby. Shaken baby syndrome. Everyone congregated again in front of Baxter's and Cove's cars. Terry bounced over to Baxter and offered her hand for a handshake. He accepted it easily with a charming grin. You're a pal. You're too kind. It was no trouble whatsoever. I'll be keeping this car all summer. If it suits you, you're welcome to come take my number and give me a ring whenever you're in need of another ride. And that goes for everyone here. I have a car. Kobe, like, I am a strong, independent woman. Terry busted into laughter and Miranda fidgeted. She did not know what to do with that. Baxter really went fast, didn't he? He noticed her discomfort and smiled with a soft tilt of the head. I'd be happy to help again, but that's the only reason I offered. If you don't need it, you can pass on it. Oh my god. I really don't... Like, it's nice of him, but we loyal. We loyal to Cove. That's our boyfriend. What's the little icon on Baxter's shirt? It's eyes. See? It's little eyes. Loyal hoes. I'm a loyal hoe. I'm a loyal hoe. I'm his bottom bitch. If you come between me, I'm gonna give you a stitch. Oh, speaking of James, the first time I started chatting with him, I was very shy and nervous, and he started rambling about how much... Oh, you... I started rambling about how much you enjoyed the voice acting. I'm sure he's quite used to that. He has a very charming voice. And I'm sure he's really loved by a lot of people. And he's quite handsome to boot. He is quite handsome. Boy, I'm lucky he's not in the chat right now. Yes, agree. He is quite handsome. He has a gorgeous, like... his hair is gorgeous. When her giggle subsided, Terry put a hand to her chin, with brows furrowed. I wonder, would that option be available right now? You're a valet of somewhere cool. The glasses do fit him. The glasses do fit him.
What?
Yeah, that's very true too. I didn't know he had a partner though. That's very good. As he seems so nice. And he seems very loving. Cove is taken aback. He put a hand on the hood of his car. Were we going back to the neighborhood? Wasn't Baxter going back to neighborhood too? Why would we just go somewhere else? Cove is not for this at all. Because we can. Miranda squirmed nervously and then committed to piping up.
Maybe?
We could go to the park near my place. It's a really nice place to hang out. You and Cove shared a look. The big park was pretty nice. Let's do it. Just because you can doesn't mean you should, that's true. I kind of wanted to go home. I'm a homebody though, a little bit. It's weird because I'm a homebody, but not really. Like, I love going out, but then when it's time to go home, I want to go home. Once I've had enough of being outside, I've had enough, and I'm ready to go home and kick the fuck back.
It's doable.
That sounds doable. Oh god, the bass. I'm never ready. I'm never ready for these lines. Oh, I'm wearing headphones. He glanced at Cove and then switched focus to you. Well, we have 2 cars. If some people want to go to the park, I could still take the others home, but if everyone's going, it wouldn't make sense for me not to. Let's see. Let's go back to the neighborhood with Cove. That's our man right there. That is our man right there. You would rather go back for now. You let the group know. Both girls frowned, neither wanted to leave you or Cove behind. Terry especially looked troubled and started bouncing in place.
No.
Today is all of us about us hanging out. We can't just bail. Miranda nodded and bit her lip. You don't have to go to the park. Going back to the neighborhood has plenty of appeal. It could prove to be the better idea. Cove winced and shook his head.
Don't worry about it.
No, it's fine. We've done plenty of hanging out today. If you want to go to the park, you should. My friend who originally showed me this game, who introduced this game to me, said that the wedding DLC is an absolute must. So if I'm gonna get a DLC, I think I'm gonna go straight for the wedding. Let's see. You wish the other characters had a wedding DLC as well, okay. Yeah, I've heard great things about the wedding DLC. I really, really want it. But I have no expendable funds. It sucks because I get my paycheck and then my bills come and they go, I'll be taking that. And I go, well, I have some money for like food and stuff, and then my dogs need food and it's like, I'll be taking that. And I go, well, and then my car insurance comes up and it goes, well, is this all you got? I go, yeah, just put the rest on credit, I guess. Ooh, Jorvik's working on a Sunset Bird neighborhood in The Sims 3. That is so cool. Bleeding me dry. Yeah, the government. I can always ask an Xmas gift. Yes, Father! May I have a dating sim DLC for my present? Please, it is imperative to my mental health that I get this DLC. You don't have to worry about us. Go have fun with Baxter. Father! Father, I require funds. What for, my dear daughter? Father, I request the Our Life Wedding DLC. It is imperative to my mental health, and everyone says it is a shoo-in for a good time. If I do not get this DLC, my heart will surely crumble, and I will believe that you indeed do not love me, Father. And then he will give me the money. By the way, this is how some conversations go with my dad. He is a very funny guy. He calls me daughter all the time. I just go, Father. Hello, Father. He goes, my daughter. Alright, Lumi. You have a good night. dad stream. I mean, I think my dad would be open to it. I have already told my dad about me streaming before. So dad, if you're watching this, I am so sorry for all the jokes about dick that I have made in the past almost year of doing this. Father, forgive me, for I have become a lewd individual. She didn't sound too thrilled, and Miranda patted her on the shoulder. Why am I always yappy when I play Our Life? Jokes are my true self, he'll understand. Yeah, he honestly makes the same jokes. He will run with the jokes that I make. It is quite hilarious because it's quite, like, you know how when you get older and your parents seem more like people, but they're still your parents? So, like, I'll start swearing and I go, oops, and then he goes, yeah, fuck, shit, damn it. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's right. I'm an adult now and I can swear. And he recognizes that I'm an adult that swears. So he's like, fuck, shit, damn it. And I'm like, bastard, bitch, cunty. Let's see. Thanks to your partner, you were able to be a Kickstarter for the second game, where you can be a partner for both characters. That's so cool. She didn't sound too thrilled. Miranda, okay. Guess we'll see you later then? Probably. Cove smiled, and she rolled her eyes as his wishy-washy answer. You knew you'd be seeing them again. Some bitch. Everyone finished saying their goodbyes, and the three climbed into Baxter's car. Let's see. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Terry started to shout back and startled Baxter slightly. Miranda laughed and waved back. Terry rolled down the window. See ya! Bye, Terry. Bye, Miranda. Then Baxter rolled down his own window.
See you.
Have a safe journey back. I'll see you around the neighborhood. Baxter started to pull out of the parking lot, and Cove waved them off, stepping forward as they pulled away. Then it was just you and Cove left in the parking lot. He rubbed his hands together for a moment and unlocked his car. You got into the shotgun seat this time. Cove took his place at the wheel. He put his key in the ignition and turned to you. I'm surprised you didn't want to go. Let's see. Actually, I only wanted to go so you had a reasonable... No, let's not do that. I was ready to go back. Cove smiled, satisfied. Finally turned his key to start the car. The car ride passed quickly. They were all familiar roads you've seen before. Soon you returned to the comfort of your own neighborhood. Cove pulled in and parked. He shut off his car, then you both got out to stand in the road.
I guess
that's it. Thanks for the ride, Cove. I'll see you later. It was fun. Pleasant farewells given. You walked to your front door. You completely changed out of your swimsuit and into more comfortable clothes. That was definitely a benefit of coming back. Time ticked by as the sun started to set. Orange gold light streamed in through the windows. You could tell the weather was still really nice out there. Your attention was taken by your phone. Let's see. Miranda's, it pinged on your... Personalized, I loved having personal text tones, and I still would. You had different text tones for almost everyone important in your life. You thought Miranda's was especially fitting. It played, and you snatched it up to check your phone. Hi, Hibika. We're gonna see fireworks. You wanna come? Oh. And Terry texted Cove. He said he'll be there. How did their trip start at hanging out at the park and end up finding some previously unknown fireworks spectacle? It was definitely news to you. Fireworks? What to? Fireworks was kind of out of the blue, but it sounded like a lot of fun. I love fireworks. I absolutely love fireworks. So good. Miranda sent back a cheery smiley face. Not even 5 seconds later. Then you got a yay, and she sent another message that told you that Cove would be out of it. I can't read the sentence. That Cove would be out at his car soon. You quickly got yourself ready and headed out into the world once more. On the way, you sent a message to Cove that you were coming. He texted that he was already outside. Just as promised, Cove was waiting quiet. Or I can just not read. Just as promised, Cove was waiting by his car. He hadn't been bothered to change at all. He was quite comfortable going around in his swim shorts. Well, he doesn't have bikini bottoms that cut into his legs. So, he's probably very comfy right now. Reading is very hard. It is very hard, especially when you do it for like 2 hours straight. I don't know why I enjoy doing this to myself, but I hope the reading has been very good. I like to check in because while I enjoy reading, I do like hearing what everybody else thinks just to get some feedback on what I could possibly do better. I'm not the best reader, and I don't have the best voice or enunciation. I have a little bit of a lisp. I have a little bit of lisp in my voice. But I do enjoy reading when I can. Screaming stream, oh god. No. Those are the horror games. What are you talking about, though? He slipped his phone into his pocket and waved you over. Without needing to say a thing, you got into the shotgun seat. Cove looked over to you from the driver's side and smirked as he started up the car. Here we go again. Yep. He pulled out into the road and raced toward the city as the sun continued to sink below the horizon. When the city lights sparkled around you, Cove started looking for a parking spot. It had been a smooth drive, but unfortunately, finding parking was a task. You tried to text Miranda to see where they'd parked, but she admitted that there hadn't been any openings around there. They got lucky with one single spot. Cove had to drive around a few blocks, but finally you spotted something. He pulled in and parked, feeling just as triumphant as if he won the actual prize. Terry sent you a text, saying to hurry up and get to the waterfront. Miranda attached a helpful picture of where they were. You pointed the way to Cove, and the two of you jogged around a bend and then down the brick-lined walkway. Eventually, you saw 3 silhouettes in the distance. They started to wave and yell. One of them jumped in place with her arms going back and forth. It had to be your friends. You rushed over to them. Miranda and Terry ran up to meet you halfway, with faces full of smiles. Hey! We missed you! Buddies, I knew the day wasn't over for us. Hey, guess you were right. I'm happy we made it. Baxter has stepped up at some point too. He ran a hand through his hair, trying not to interrupt the reunion. Hello. Hey. Cove gave him a nod. With the band back together, the group walked back to the area where Baxter, Miranda, and Terry had originally set up. It was a quiet, open area on the waterfront. Cove let out a relieved sigh after things calmed down. So, we miss anything? Nah, you're good. Nothing's happened yet. We think it's gonna start really soon, though. What are these fireworks even for? Well... She smiled a big grin at Miranda. Randy talked about watching fireworks at the park, and that reminded me about how there's this big company having an event tonight. I heard they were gonna have fireworks. There's no way we were ever getting into that party, but... She put a finger up, and her smile turned devious. I'm positive we'll still be able to see the fireworks from here. They can't hide explosions in the sky from the public. That's ridiculous. You suddenly wondered how Terry had convinced Cove to come without prior explanation. He was utterly stunned that this was the source of the fireworks. To be fair, you hadn't asked Miranda for the details either. Cove scratched his head in defeat. I guess we're already here. It's kinda too late now. You bet your wet blanket it's too late. She shook her head with exasperation, but let him off with a minimal teasing. Let's see. Ooh, I love fireworks. Let's see. Yes, excited. The spontaneity of the whole thing combined with the amazement of fireworks was a recipe for you to be bursting with anticipation. It couldn't start soon enough. Terry led Miranda to sit down on the oval slabs along the path. Miranda took a seat and began tapping her knees together as she waited. Terry, meanwhile, crouched more than sat. Andy, it's all fun and games until you encounter nothing there. This is not Lobotomy Corporation, though. Baxter smiled politely and looked from you to Cove. He seemed to be waiting for one of you to speak first, rather than wanting to be the one to directly start a conversation. Something seemed to strike Cove, as he tried unsuccessfully to hide a smile. Most of us are in swimsuits. Brilliant observation. Wearing beachwear in the middle of the city, in the dark while waiting for a fireworks show, it was clearly the joke of the day for him. Cove snorted once and then looked back up at the sky. Isingra, thank you for the booples. A flash lit up the sky with a brilliant green. Your eyes flew off the building in the distance, and silently watched with bated breath. You heard a second boom, and then a red firework lit up the night. Ah. Whoa, the show is starting! It's so pretty! They came running over to get closer, positively beaming. Terry pressed herself to the waterfront fence, getting as close as physically possible without just going swimming again. More fireworks went off, shooting out hundreds of tiny, sparkling lights. The colors stood out starkly against the dark of the night. The biggest ones washed your surrounding with their hue, turning your world blue, then red, then golden.
Welcome.
Did I deliver, or did I deliver? Miranda's eyes glittered, and then she lightly bumped Terry with her hip. Good job. Terry stumbled at the friendly nudge, but was pleased with the compliment. She grinned back. Miranda lightly swung her hips the opposite way to give you a bump as well. It was friendly and soft. Woo! We did it! You smiled at her and nodded. Let's see. You were pleased that you hadn't missed any of the show. After all, you were glad that everyone seemed to be having... Yes. Despite how unorthodox the impromptu fireworks plan had been. How so unorthodox. You were ecstatic it worked out. Luckily, you've arrived in time, and it was shaping up to be a particularly good and colorful fireworks show. The rest of the group huddled around the railing to take in the show as closely as possible. Miranda stood close by. Terry's hands gripped the top. Cove laid his arms across it while leaning forward, and Baxter rested his elbows on the rail, putting his back toward the fireworks. He seemed to be having more fun watching the others than the actual show. Ooh! She pointed out a golden firework and beamed. Ah, that's so cool! Terry held up a hand for a high five, and Miranda obliged her. Terry whooped and shot you a smile. What color do you think the next one will be? Without giving Baxter a glance, Cove answered immediately. Green. He wants it to be green, because his favorite color is green. It was orange. Baxter chuckled, but I wasn't interested in calling out Cove for being wrong. Is that your favorite color? Green? It's one of them. I think that's nice. It matches you. No shit. And is yours black? That's one of them. Cove smirked just a little and left the conversation there. Oh, they're liking each other. Hello, Shadow Killer. How are you doing? You stood next to the girls. You stood next to Cove. I want to stand next to my girls. My girls. I'm doing okay. Oh, excuse me. The girls noticed you moving closer and made room for you in the middle. You stepped into the space and they smiled at each other. Then the two leaned in, sticking you firmly between them. Terry laughed. Friend sandwich! Miranda laughed as well, and you smiled. The three of you watched the show all bundled together. The spectacle continued to up the ante by bringing more fireworks out at a time. The colors danced across the sky and reflected over the water. You reached out a hand and watched it as it was a green tinted... Well, wait, you reached out a hand and watched as it was tinted green, while a big boom sounded. Fireworks were a normal summer tradition, but this was admittedly an unconventional approach. Showing up in the city last minute to watch a display from a technically private event, that made this feel special in a way that just planning to go to a public fireworks show never would. Oh, Shadow Killer, thank you for saying hello. I hope you have a great sleep, hun. Terry's idea may not have left you with a lot of time to prepare, but it sure led to a unique situation. It was clear this was an unforgettable night. As the finale sounded, blazed the sky with an unbelievable beauty, you remembered thinking that there might never be a night exactly like this one again. Not for the rest of your life. Oh, thank you for the bubbles! You planned to hold on to the feelings you had in that moment for as long as you could. Woo! And then summer ended. Are you sure? Yes. Moths bounced against your window, attracted by the light of your room, a siren call in the slowly darkening sky. Just as the day was coming to an end, so too would summer. Liz would be moving back to the dorms before long. Luckily, Lee had been able to stay for a short trip before her own new journey began. She'd officially been accepted to her first choice college a few weeks ago. This was her last chance to see you all in person for... You flicked through the plans for the next few months, realizing that you didn't even know when you'd have the next opportunity for everyone to be in the same place again. It was hard to think you'd likely be seeing even less of your cousin going forward, but you were delighted that she was pursuing her dreams. While you were still with each other, your family was going to have dinner together. As ever, the Holdens were tagging along too. Oh, a Chinese restaurant. It was somewhere your family had always enjoyed going, ever since you and Liz were tiny. That long-standing connection made it a fitting location for our final meal out before Liz and Lee set off again. Technically, you were getting ready to go out, though your mind was only half on the task. It was a pleasantly warm evening, the kind that epitomized the vacation feeling, and you were in no mood to spoil it by rushing around. While idly gazing at your room, you spotted a small cluster of unopened envelopes. That must have been left for your parents earlier. That must have been left for you by a parent earlier. There we go. You headed over to the table to flick through for anything of interest. As a child, any correspondence felt exciting due to its rarity. You recognize now that most of it was mundane, but you were checking any mail you got more regularly of late. There was something you were expecting. You stopped at a crisp, white envelope. The logo proudly proclaimed the sender, a school you applied to. Let's see. You took a deep breath and read it. This next step would take nerve. You closed your eyes as you breathed deep, the air slipping through your lips as you opened your eyes once more. You pulled apart the glued flap on the front of the envelope and extracted the letter. Your eyes darted over the message, rushing past the pleasantries to get to the heart of the matter. The blood pounding in your ears deafened you to the world outside that was contained within these letters. Your heart skidded to a halt as you read your verdict. You had been accepted. You were... oh, relieved. It's all of this. It's all of this. Oh my god, it was all of this. Oh my god. I would be ecstatic though. I would be squealing. I would be jumping. I would be happy. Bouncing on the balls of your feet, you pressed the letter to your chest as your excitement bubbled over. Let's see, you have to tell your family, you'd make an announcement at dinner. Let's see, you want a code to be I'd make an announcement at dinner, honestly. I'm that kind of gal. You tried your best to finish finished getting ready for dinner ahead. It was a strain. Your mind had only been half on the task before. Now with the news fresh in your mind, it was a struggle to concentrate on anything else. You kept having to recall your thoughts away from the future and back to the present. You've just been reminded I have a nice way of narrating? Thank you! I'm glad you like it. I try. I definitely try. Thank you. You kept having to recall your thoughts away from the future and back to the present. Time was against you. Mom soon called from downstairs that it was time to go. You had to check the time. Sure, you had 10 or at least 5 minutes left. You were wrong. You tore down the stairs, attempting to juggle your composure among the hurry and excitement. Your moms, who turned to greet you as you arrived, swapped silent knowing
And then I have
looks.
to drink more water.
And then I had to drink more water. And then I had to stretch as well, showing off my toned arms that were not toned at all. In fact, they were very squishy. Stretchy time. Drinky time. Oh, goodness. They couldn't possibly have figured out what happened, or so you hoped. As your moms, they were pretty good at telling things without being told. You watched them, hunting for any further signs they were on the case, but none came. For now, it didn't seem like they knew what was happening. Not exactly, at least. But things were definitely happening, and even if they didn't know for sure what you were cooking up, they could smell something in the air. Everyone piled into the car. While it was marketed as being suitable to hold 5 people, in practice it made for a very tight fit. Your moms sitting in the front were fine. You, Liz, and Lee were squished into the back. Lee in the middle, wedged between you and your sister. But Mom was an excellent timekeeper. Thanks to her efforts, you pulled up near the restaurant on time. The process of getting out of the car was slightly easier than squeezing into it, with much less coordination required to release the seatbelts than to secure them. You gave Lee a hand as she clambered out from the middle seat, then headed into the building as a group. A waiter greeted you as you entered. Ma let him know how many of you would be in total, and went to arrange a table that met your needs. He returned promptly to guide you to your seats. You perched comfortably in your chair, your head held aloft as if buoyed by today's good fortune. Your family settled down around you, all cheerful, looking forward to the evening ahead. Your drinks order had just been taken when the Holdens came through the door. They were pointed in your direction, though Mom, waving an arm in the air, was hardly necessary. Cove and Mr. Holden came to join you at the table. As greetings were being exchanged, Cove took a seat opposite to you. It had been left empty by unspoken acknowledgement that you and Cove would be wanting to sit together. Mr. Holden sat beside him.
Hi.
It's great to see you. Glad you can make it. Hello, everyone. You wouldn't believe how hungry I am.
I see.
You came to the right place then. There was some laughter, though Liz groaned playfully, shaking her head at Mom's sense of humor. Growing up, she'd complained, and Mom would have responded by making another comment. Liz had mellowed out over the years, but she still made a show of despairing at Mom's jokes. Her reaction to them had become a joke in its own right. Menus were soon passed around, and a temporary hush fell over the table as everyone read. It didn't last long, punctured by comments about what people had eaten here before, and light chatter about what people were considering tonight. Once the waiter had disappeared with your orders, Cliff piped up.
Okay.
So I've got some news. Kyra's making a trip out here tomorrow. Cove nodded, turning from his father to the rest of the table. Yeah, we talked about it and figured this was a good time for everyone.
Very nice.
That's great! Everyone reacted positively to the news, though Ma looked wistful.
It's a shame.
Ugh, if only we'd known. Here we are having a big meal without her. If we had waited one day, she could have joined us. Mom patted Ma on the back, gently nudging her from the realm of possibilities and what-ifs, and back to the evening that was going so well. Chin up, Lee and Liz will still be here tomorrow. We'll just have to throw another get-together and keep the fun train chugging along. Ma smiled warmly, taking Mom's hand in hers. That's true. There's plenty to celebrate right now, but there will be more good news and good times on the horizon.
Right.
Right, and speaking of, that's not all we've got either. Mr. Holden's eyes were alight as he sat up straight in his chair, face angled toward his son. He barely let a beat go by before nudging Cove with his elbow, pushing him to follow up on the announcement. He was the very picture of a proud papa. Cove shied from the limelight, ducking his head down and staring at his lap as he spoke.
Well,
It's just... I switched over to working full-time instead of only part-time. Plus, I've been looking at apartments. There's a few I can choose from. He flicked his gaze up at everyone around the table, a smile creeping over his face. I'll be pretty busy going forward. Apartments. He was moving. Cove was going to move out of his dad's house. After 10 years, he wasn't going to be your neighbor anymore. Mr. Holden gripped one of Cove's shoulders and gave it a loving shake. His excitement couldn't be more contained. Incredible. Cove's actually going to make it to adulthood. It's a miracle. And I didn't even need to pawn him off for $20. Mr. Holden leaned back in his chair, staring up at the ceiling in mock wonder.
I'm so glad.
I wasn't convinced I'd be able to rear a kid all the way to this point, but thankfully, I lucked out and got the best boy Dad could have asked for. Dad... Cove blinkered his vision with his hands on his side of his face, temporarily blocking his father from sight. Despite his genuine bashfulness, which left him unable to meet anyone's eyes after all the attention thrust his way, he was happy.
thanks.
I was really lucky too. You're a good dad.
Aw.
Oh, come here. Mr. Holden threw an arm around Cove's neck, pulling him into as close of a hug as the seating allowed. He rubbed his cheek on the top of his son's head, while Cove chuckled, accepting the affection with good humor. As the spotlight thrust on Cove dimmed, he decided this was as good of a time to make your own announcement. Can I share some news too? Of course!
Yeah.
Lay it on us! I got my acceptance letter today. I'll be going to college soon.
You're
Nice, Hibika!
good job.
That's wonderful, sweetie. Ma roped you into a hug, her arms quicker than any lasso. You were thankful you sat next to her. If not, you didn't doubt that she would have dived over the table to reach you in her excitement. Hey, let me in on the hug. Your moms pincered you into a hug, leaning from their chairs to squeeze you in tandem. Liz beamed at you from across the table. Good job, Hibika. Lee didn't hide her excitement, clapping her hands in open delight.
Seriously?
That's amazing! You're gonna be amazing! Mr. Holden gave you a thumbs up.
Good.
Impressive, you're a good kid. The world's your oyster. Cove grinned at you from across the table.
Seriously?
That's amazing! It's incredible! You did it! Congratulations, Hibika! Thanks. No, seriously, this is really big, and you deserve it so much. You looked around at the faces of the company here. You've been on this journey with everyone here for years, seeing them falter and grow, and they had watched you go through the same. Now you're striking out on a new path. Bo was leaving his family home, Liz was heading back to college, while Lee was starting at hers. You were all heading in different directions, to different destinations, some near and some far, but it wouldn't be long until you were all going your own way. Let's see. Pride. I'm very prideful. You held your head aloft as you looked forward, literally and metaphorically. It was amazing how far you'd all come. You were sure that you would face each day that came head on, knowing that you had people who cared about you backing you up, even if it was from a distance. You couldn't wait to see what happened next. Cove brought some attention to himself with a clearing of his throat and a small interjection. I'm gonna stretch my legs while we're waiting on food and everything.
Sure.
Sure thing, bud. With a tiny smile, he nodded at his dad, but the lightness to his expression faded when he moved to face you. Wanna come? He was attempting to be subtle, but there was very obviously something on his mind, something he wanted to talk to you about alone. You watched him with concern as you rose from your seat. Yeah, I'll go. Take care. With those parting words, the two of you walked about the place. He was trying to get as far away from everyone else as possible, without actually exiting the building. What did you need to say? He hadn't admitted that was what this was about, but he didn't need to. Cove started pulling on the hem of his shirt. He turned his head back to face you, but it was an awkward moment. Well, I wanted to talk to you one-on-one about all of this. You know, my work, moving. I mean, it was coming before, but now it's pretty much here. Yeah, it's exciting. Cove stopped picking at his shirt, and he seemed to respond well to that response. He was relieved you weren't upset. I'm glad you think so. But then he looked down and his brows furrowed. And you saw his hand shift away from his clothes to instead rub at his arm. Are you looking forward to it? I am.
I mean...
Well, I'm trying to be. He ducked his head further and you saw his face start to redden. But it's scary. What if I mess everything up for me? For us? Let's see. So we're going to... You're gonna do great things. He said nothing, but let his eyes meet yours again. Cove then turned his head away and wrapped his arms around himself. You felt a sudden chill that definitely wasn't caused by the air conditioner. I promise, I'm not gonna keep asking this forever, but so much of our lives has been this place with these people, and it seems like all of that is about to change. So, are you really sure you want me? You remembered that night of the Orca fundraiser, when you admitted you loved Cove and that you wanted to be with him always. He seemed so confident about it then, but now that you were on the brink, his words came out hesitantly. He didn't want to ask this. He didn't want a no. I'm not just talking about today, but forever. Always. Roll credits. If things change later, right now, do you feel we could make it? Or do you think we can last? That one day, we'll have to move on? No, we're not gonna get mad at him. That doesn't help. You understood his concern. It was definitely hard to imagine what would happen. However, you didn't let yourself get upset. Let's see. I'm yours as long as you want me. Want it to be forever. Let's say this, it's more reassuring. You're in love with him. There's no way you were going to let this fall down the wayside. Cove laughed, with a delicate smile on his face. Okay, you win. I wanted to prepare myself for the horrifyingly unknown, but you're kind of giving me no choice but to be optimistic here. His eyes sparkled with mischief. Strong armor. You're welcome. Cove rolled his eyes and tried not to smile. Thanks for listening to me. It helped. He felt pleased that his anxiety had eased after talking it out. Want to go back to the table? I bet everyone's wondering what we've been up to.
Yeah.
From across the restaurant, just staring at us as we sit in the corner and talk about our feelings. Oh yeah, I forgot what we were doing here. That probably could. With matching smiles, you both reclaimed your seats at the table. Both of you felt lighter and it showed. You seem happy. What was that? Yeah, it looked like you two were having quite the conversation over there. It's neighbor stuff. Sorry. I used to be your neighbor. He waved off their questions, and you didn't offer any explanations. They still seemed curious, but caught that Cove wanted it to stay between the two of you and let it drop. Things relaxed, and you took a sip of your drink. Lee idly tapped the table and got your attention. I'm so excited to try this place. I haven't been here in a long time. I hope it's as good as I remember. All of the restaurants in the area are pretty top-notch in my humble opinion. We'll see. It was a challenge issued. Liz carried herself like some sort of professional food critic, and Mom snorted. Girl, it is a Chinese restaurant. Tough crowd. Jeez, Liz. Ma giggled and chimed in as well, much to Liz's embarrassment. That's right, Lizzie. Jeez. Ah, jeez Louise. Let's see. Shook your head at the silliness. As Wooly plays with the bottle cap in the background. Wooly's my cat, by the way. For those of you who are new, she's a little kitten that likes to get into mischief. Just like any other cat. Everyone burst out laughing, besides Liz, of course. She smirked. No one could ever accuse your family of being no fun. Night fell soon after everyone finished their meals, and before you knew it, you were standing in the parking lot, saying your goodbyes and packing up the cars to go home. After the last of the chores were done, your family spent some more time together. The rest of the night felt like it was going by in a blink of an eye, and somehow the time came to retire to your room to sleep. You pulled your covers up under your chin and settled down for the night, getting warm and cozy. As your head sank into your pillow and you closed your eyes, your mind drifted back to everything that had happened that day. You could see it all now, behind your eyelids, as though you were experiencing it all over again. And then the image of Cove popped into your head, and you smiled softly to yourself. Game Crazy, thank you for the bubbles! Let's see. You decided to send him a text, come over, you wanted to sneak out to his room. What happens when I do this? If Cove could do it, then you didn't see why you shouldn't be allowed to. You made up your mind. As quietly as you could manage, you put on your shoes and slipped out of your room, closing the door behind you softly. Heading slowly down, you took care to not make the floor creak. Especially with the floorboards being right by the bathroom. Those definitely squeaked. The stillness of the night made even the slightest sound seem so much louder to your ears, and you were very aware of your mom sleeping nearby. Upon reaching the bottom, you tiptoed toward the front door. Slipping out into the crisp night air, you shut the door and took a relieving breath. Excitement rising, you dashed across the street toward Cove's house. The road, too, was surreal at this hour, familiar yet strange. It might have been eerie at another time, but with how eager you were, you hardly cared. You attempted to find your way from the normal footpath to the side of the condo, but the limited light was making it difficult. You knew for sure which window was Cove's, and luckily for you, it was on the first floor. Unlike Cove, you wouldn't have to do any building scaling. I needed a sip of tea. All you needed to do now was make it safely over the fence and past the bushes without being caught or injured. Sneaking closer, you glanced over to the hedges towards Cove's bedroom window, finding it cracked open. Perfect. You wouldn't have to knock and worry about him not answering. Hoisting yourself up with ease, you cleared the fence and avoided the shrubs, then darted over to the window. You buzzed with nervous... How's the thirsty line? Lexi, you finally made it, my gosh! I missed you. Where have you been? Have you been cheating on me with the horse again? But I'm doing just fine. Oh, thank you, Lexi. I appreciate it. Arguing with the horse! Oh, busy, Lexi. Busy. Lifting the window up so it was fully open, you push yourself halfway through, your legs dangling into the underbrush below. It was a little awkward, as a small shelf was right in the way. You had to take care not to knock over a couple of plants, but you made it through with minimal noise. Once safely inside, you dusted yourself off and turned back to close the window gently, with only the soft glow of moonlight and Cove's fish tank there to see the way. You gave a small wave to the special fish you got to name Dick Tickler. I am so glad we keep getting callbacks to Dick Tickler. Oh, I love this game so much. Then straining your eyes to the dark, you crept towards Cove's bed, barely making out the sleeping figure beneath the covers. It was actually his dad. By the sounds of his soft breathing, you could tell that he hadn't heard you come in, and a small smile tugged at your lips. No, let's not do this one. Poked him, nudged him. You left him to sleep and sat beside him. Sat down on top of... I would do this one. Or this one. Both of these sound absolutely dastardly. Just one is a little bit more, like, dastardly than the other. I'm gonna sit on him. Chuckling quietly to yourself, you crawled over to the bed towards him and sat yourself right on the chest. My goodness. His eyes snapped open, then he attempted to bolt upright, but couldn't move an inch with your weight on top of him. His head flopped back down with a huff. You continued smiling down at him, and he looked back up at you, completely lost. What's going on? I'm holding you captive with my thighs. Don't fight it. He watched you with wide eyes, completely unsure of what to do, before he whispered something croakily. You couldn't quite make out what it was, and when you leaned in closer, he attempted to speak again. Get up, please. Can you get off? Oh, I can get off, alright. I can get off. Now that you had his attention, you scrambled off the bed and stood beside it. Cove took in a deep breath, clearly not happy with your brand of wake-up call, rolled over and turned his back on you. He softly murmured to himself, already starting to doze off again. Why do you always have to sit on me? You snickered quietly to yourself as you sat there. He couldn't figure it out on his own, and after a few more seconds, he did. Wait, Yubika? Yes, I'm here. He shuffled under the covers and sat up to stare at you in alarm.
What?
What? Why are you in my room? Oh, what happened? A smile slipped onto your face as he finally registered your presence for real. Dreaming about me, huh? Kisses! Clutching the front of his shirt, you gently pulled him towards you and met his lips with your own. He kissed you back softly before pulling back too quickly, looking a little flustered. Was that the whole reason? He hesitated before whispering the next part embarrassedly. To kiss me? It's not the only reason. He gave a small sigh, but he held a great deal of affection. I should have known you'd do this one of these days. It's only fair. You let out a breath, feeling relieved that he didn't seem bothered by it. Why would he? He crawls through our window all the time. Don't take it if you can't dish it, Cove. I mean, don't dish it if you can't take it, Cove! Fuck her backwards ass. You thought maybe his enthusiasm was why Cove did it so often. He pushed himself up fully, swinging his legs over to the side of the bed and leaving a spot for you beside him. His hands shook where he held them in his lap. He was nervous. Bro was gagged. You can stay as long as you want. Really? Yeah, really. Can I stay the whole night?
Of course.
Of course. You smiled, feeling relieved that he had agreed, and he grinned back. You could always count on him. I've secretly slept over in your room before. It's fair you get to do it too. Exactly, and thank you for the booples, Isingra. You snickered, feeling pleased with your decision to do this. Okay, but there's no way I'm letting you take the floor this time. There we go again. You rolled your eyes and let out a soft sigh, which Cove returned as he rubbed at the back of his neck. Seriously, you can have the bed I want to share? I want to share. I want to snuggle. I want to snuggle with my boyfriend. His eyebrows dipped. He was growing visibly nervous. It was to be expected. But after what happened last time, you've been waiting for another chance. You hope he felt the same. And it seemed he did. Yeah, this time we can share. You'll really stay? You won't leave to be on the floor? He nodded, holding back your delight. He tried not to grin at his sudden resolve. We're gonna share the bed. You could hear the tremble in Cove's voice as he held his hands together to keep them from shaking. He let out a breath and shook his hands in front of him, mentally preparing himself. It's gonna be alright. Not gonna poke you with my boner. Let's do this. His mouth set into a grim line, and he balled his hands into fists at the sides, determined. It's not that serious. You're glad he... Okay. I'm glad he was making the effort. It's an important step in your relationship, and he seemed to understand that. Pokey pokey! Pokey pokey! It only took a couple of moments longer before he turned to you, attempting a weak smile. Ready? Yeah, let's get in there. Let's get in there. He took another deep breath and you slipped under the covers, making room for him to get in after you. Laying as straight as a steel rod, Cove tensed up beside you. So still he was barely breathing at all. Dude, just chill, just relax, please. You rested on your side and faced him, your eyebrows pinched in the middle as you watched him. He looked back at you deeply. Do you need more time? I can leave until you're more set up in here. Laying as hard as a steel rod, probably. No, please don't go. I want you to stay with me. Ever so slowly, he began to relax, his fingers tentatively brushing up and down your arm. His eyes shut, lashes fanning out over the top of his cheeks, and you still half expected him to run away like last time. But he didn't. He stayed right where he was.
Don't worry about it.
You don't have to worry about me. Doing stuff like this isn't a problem, it's a process. He nodded in understanding, even though he couldn't see it. It's giving him time to let his nerves settle. After fluffing up your pillow and getting yourself comfy, you stayed quiet. Eventually, his shoulders became less rigid. When his eyes opened, he smiled and turned his head toward you. Thank you for waiting. Again. As always. He laughed shyly, his soft eyes meeting yours through the dim light.
Are you okay?
Are you okay? Yeah. I am. I'm with you. Let's not say that. Why the fuck would you say this? He let out a deep breath, relief written on his face. Yeah, I am. He shuffled closer, an inch at a time, and nuzzled his chin against the top of your head, wrapping his arms around your sides. I do this when I snuggle. I grasp things. I grab things. Holding on tight, you inhaled his familiar scent and let it envelop you in warmth. You smell good. The room grew quiet around you. The only sounds to be heard were the faraway crash of the ocean waves and your breath mingling in the small space between you. Cove's heart was pounding, the thump of it rumbling through you as he spoke again softly.
That's...
You know, I'm not scared of you, right? It's just so many other things that scare me. I'm afraid of what if
And then I have to drink more water.
I have to drink more water for my thirsty ass. There, are you happy? Are you happy? I'm scared of my own feelings and how much I feel them. And I'm afraid because tomorrow things will be different between us, but I'll be alone again. He held on to you tighter, his breath stuttering ever so slightly. It's normal right now to see you during the day and part ways at night. Except for special exceptions. A little laugh escaped him before his tone became serious once more. It's easier to stay where I am than it is to make myself move. To not take a risk and to not know what I might be missing, but... He hesitated and he reached up to brush a few strands of his hair from his face gently, his eyes slowly fixing on yours. When did doing the easy thing get so hard? When it comes to you, I don't know how to stay still, and I want to keep taking steps forward. Honestly, when I see your face, or even imagine it, I want to start sprinting. But when I try, I hit a wall. It's just like I physically can't do it on one side of my mind. There's something blocking me. And then on the other side, I absolutely can't stop myself from doing it. It never ends well.
I'm always
I hate it. It's the most frustrating thing. Why do I do it every time? I'm annoyed with the way that I am, and so I have no idea how you stand it. I'm sorry I act so split when it comes to romantic things. I do not want you to think you're rushing me when I know I'm giving mixed signals. And I don't want to miss out on being happy by being like this, but sometimes I still can't help it. So basically what I'm trying to say is, I'm glad you never have given up on me. It means a lot, and it means everything. Everything to me. Let's see. It's who you are, and I accept you. His eyes glossed over a little as he squeezed you closer to him and smiled, his heart rate finally relaxing to a normal rhythm.
Good night.
Good night, Hibika. Good night. He leaned forward and kissed you tenderly, his hand gently moving to cradle the back of your head.
I love you.
I love you. I love you too. You were still smiling as you snuggled into him, getting as close as you could. Cocooned in his warmth, you easily grew comfortable next to him, feeling him ease into you as well. Before long, your eyes were growing heavy, and you drifted off into a restful sleep, side by side. The next morning, you woke slowly from a comfortable dream. With a small stretch, you opened your eyes fully to the sun shining in, through the window. Shuffling onto your side, you noticed Cove still beside you in the bed, sleeping soundly. You smiled, remembering the prior night. It had been nice to spend the night together. Getting to be with him in a whole different way, you could definitely get used to it. I love doing this shit. Because it doesn't really wake them. It doesn't really wake people up. But it's just nice. Because I feel like they can feel it, but not really like wake them up, you know? His skin was so soft to the touch as you brushed your fingers over the side of his face. He stirred a little in response, a small, sleepy smile curving his lips. Oh, you're fine. I'm happy to be your background noise. Don't worry about it, Jorvik. Then a loud noise suddenly startled you, and you snapped toward the source of the sound. It was the door opening abruptly, and in the frame stood Mr. Holden, smiling brightly. He hadn't seemed to notice you straight away. Are you went inside? Get your butt out of bed, sport. Mom's here. Oh. All of a sudden, the two of you made eye contact, and he froze where he stood, the smile slowly slipping from his face. Well, not usually what I walk into. I clearly should have knocked this morning. Let's see. Yeah, you should have knocked. Let's see. Not screaming. Not the screaming. Of course, I would be the one to get caught. Should I pretend I didn't hear that? Cove blinked his eyes tiredly and mumbled something incoherent before turning toward the door. Both you and Mr. Holden stared at him for a few moments, neither knowing what to say or do. Cove, who continued looking at his dad dozedly, was obviously having a hard time trying to process the situation. Then, his eyes widened. Dad! Cove scrambled onto the bed in an attempt to get to his feet, pushing the covers back off the both of you. Forgetting there was an overhanging ceiling above him, he shot upwards and hit his head on the wood. Oh, not again, Cove. Ow! He flopped back down on his pillow, pressing a hand to his head and groaning loudly. It's just... Cove! He reached out toward him instinctively. It was the second time that sharing a space with him had resulted in him hitting his head. You really felt bad for him. Poor Cove. Cove, bud, are you alright over there? Mr. Holden stepped further into the room, his eyebrows furrowed in concern, and he bent down towards his son.
Yes.
Yes, please, just go! Okay, I'll leave. Cliff held his hands in front of him in a calming gesture. I love how when I voice acted that, I put my hands up in the same gesture, even though Cove couldn't see it. He turned to make his exit, but stopped abruptly in the doorway, obviously deciding he had something more to say. I know we talked about this before, but I feel like now is one of those times to mention that I was barely older than you when I found out I was gonna be a daddy, so... Just if there's anything you need to say or ask about... We're not having kids! Oh my god! I know, I was only saying at that age, things can move fast, and, he let out a happy sigh, running a hand over his face before stopping himself and saying calmly, you know what? It's fine. We can chat about this later. Kyra's waiting. With that, he stepped back out of the room, giving the two of you one last look before pulling the door shut behind him. Cove rubbed at his face before dropping his head into his hands and mumbling between his fingers.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Well, that was fun. Let's see. Patted him on the leg. It's alright. Things like this happen. Mr. Holden would hand him a condom, I know it. He so would. He'd be like, hey, sport, by the way, even if it's a quickie, wrap that sticky. Sorry. I guess we can't just hide in here now. He gave you a sidelong glance, and despite his displeasure at the situation, a small smile quirked his lips.
It's nice.
It's too bad. It had been really nice. Too bad is right. I hope we get the chance to do this again. You found yourself smiling along with him. The two of you took a few minutes to get up properly and get yourself as ready as possible before heading out to see Kyra. Kyra was waiting patiently in the living room. She was in high spirits, with her eyes set on the hallway. Her amused smile widened when you and Cove froze. It didn't take long for the realization to sink in that the scene must have been loud enough for her to hear even from there. Cove tried to look unimpressed, eyes narrowing over Kyra's smug delight. Though, his face was already turning red and his mom hadn't even said anything yet. He squared his shoulders, lifted his head, and strode forward.
Hey.
Hi, Mom. Hi, baby. And hello to you too, Hibika. Her tone cracked in her greeting, and she just gave in and laughed, unable to keep any of it in. Cove frowned? Cove frowned at that, and his eyebrows furrowed. Sorry for the interruption. I didn't know you already had guests. His frown wobbled as he became more embarrassed by this moment. He couldn't muster up any words to defend himself. Let's see. Well, it's not like anyone's surprised by this. Kyra laughed even harder this time as it slowed. She brought a hand up to cover her mouth, but you could still see her shoulders shake. Cove still looked mortified, but he shot you a stern look and all you could do was smile. Look at that face. Look at that adorable little face. Cove was still unable to say anything, other than his teeth biting into the inside of his cheek. He stood there frozen. Kyra studied you both for a moment.
It's alright.
It's okay. My not-so-little mister is spreading his wings. I can't complain about that. She lightly tapped the tip of his nose. That got a tiny smile out of Cove. Despite being much taller than Kyra at this point, he still seemed like a little kid in front of her. You release the air you were holding in your lungs, and Kyra's gaze locked onto you. You know, we were just about to go over and see Pam and Noelle. Are you two coming? I'll go. He stretched his arms for a moment and yawned, trying to physically shake off what happened.
Sounds good.
Yeah, that sounds good to me.
Great.
Spreading his wings, more like spreading some cheese. Starburst! Spreading his wings, and soon he'll be spreading his legs too. Jorvik and Starburst. That is fucking dastardly. I love that. I love that. It was then that you noticed Mr. Holden standing on the other side of the room. You figured he must have been trying to create some space for it. You are right, though. For everyone during that last conversation. You could tell that he felt a bit awkward, but he tried smiling reassuringly as he scratched the back of his neck. His attention went to Cove. Hive mind, yes, yes, yes. Come together, my pride and joy. Come together. Bud, do you want to get changed first? No, I'm gonna go in my Jimmy Jams. Cove looked down at his pajamas for a moment. He shook his head. No, we don't have to wait for that. Are you sure? It's only a trip across the street.
Don't worry about it.
I'm alright. Besides, Hibika's going in pajamas too. Fair point. Cove then leaned in closer to you. He grumbled quietly. And your moms are gonna figure out what happened anyway, so... Yeah...
Come on.
Away we go! With that decided, the four of you headed out across the street to your house. It felt strange waiting there while Mr. Holden knocked on the door.
Hello.
Hi there! Mom answered the door and her expression brightened even more seeing Kyra there. She moved to pull Kyra into a hug when her gaze fell on you. Hibika? Hi, Mom.
Huh?
When did you get out there? Why are you still in your pajamas? Mom's eyebrow raised as she gave you a deep examining stare. Meanwhile, you and Cove shared a slow side glance with each other. Before you could answer, more heads popped into view around the doorway. Ma, Liz, and Lee were all chuckling. To be honest, I always assumed that Cove had been the one sneaking around. Her eyes sparkled with amusement, and you had to look away. You noticed Cove's face was burning red again. It was a solid theory, Lonnie. Most likely they've been breaking and entering. I wouldn't put it past my baby. He takes after his parents.
Mm-hmm.
You're right. I can't believe my Hibika is getting up to all that mischief too. Mortified, Cove looked like he wanted to disappear, while the adults chuckled and discussed what you and him may or may not have done. Fortunately, they left the conversation there. Enough of standing around out here. Come on in. Mom moved aside to usher the group in and guided them to the living room before anyone could get settled in. Mom spoke up. You're all welcome to stay for breakfast. We have some great spices and stuff from the farmer's market.
Of course.
Yes, we'd be thrilled to host you. There were eager nods from Mr. Holden and Kyra, but Cove looked around the room filled with familiar faces before speaking up. Maybe instead of staying here, why don't we go to the beach? A scenic picnic, huh? Mr. Holden crossed his arms and contemplated that idea happily. Excited, Kyra clapped her hands together.
Yeah.
Oh, we could make a day out of it. Might as well enjoy the ocean while we can. That sounds lovely, Cove. Everyone else put their own agreement with Cove's suggestion. Before long, both families dispersed, getting everything ready. Sandwiches had to be made, water, sunscreen, towels, and more needed to be gathered and packed. Plus, you and Cove both took some time to get dressed for the day. An hour later, both your family and Cove's were walking toward the old path down the beach. The morning was already turning into a bright and beautiful day. You honestly couldn't ask for better weather for a beach trip. The moment you laid your eyes on the full view of the ocean, you stopped and stood there mesmerized. It didn't matter that you grew up there. The sight always filled you with wonder. Hey, Ibika? Hmm?
So?
I was thinking about calling Terry and Miranda, see if they can come too. Everyone else is pretty much already here, so would your family mind? That'd be cool. I'll ask them. You were already so excited at the prospect of seeing your friends today that you immediately darted away in the direction your moms went. Behind you, you could hear the familiar sound of Cove laughing. I have a question. Would it be alright if Terry and Miranda came by? I don't see why not. Ma looked to Mom to see what she thought, and she nodded in agreement. Mom then shot a glance over to Mr. Holden and Kyra, knowing they had likely heard everything.
You alright with that?
Cliff, Kyra, what do you two think? The more the merrier.
Okay.
Of course, they're welcome with me. Thanks. Delighted you nodded and turned on your heels. Cove was still several feet away talking to Lee and Liz, likely about the same topic. With a beaming smile, you gave a thumbs up, and the two of them must have also approved. As Cove quickly got his phone out and started making the calls. At that, you turned your attention to helping with the picnic setup. Unexpectedly, your phone started ringing. You dug it out, curious to see the caller ID. Feeling your heart jump with excitement, you answered the video call request. It was Derek. Hey, it's been a while. Oh my gosh, look at him. Seriously. But what's up? The voice that came through was much deeper than it had been when you first met, but it still had the exact same amount of enthusiasm as of a kid. Have you been enjoying these crazy summer days? It's been amazing. It's been memorable. Sounds interesting. You'll have to catch me up on that. But what about you? How's your summer been? You're beyond curious to know what Derek had been up to since the last time you spoke. He chuckled, noticing your invested tone. Honestly, I've just been slammed with stuff lately. College applications and scholarship inquiries. What else is new? Let's see. You're looking even more toned, laughing. You knew that you didn't need to see him to know the answer to that. Derek wouldn't be Derek if his free time didn't revolve around sports. Totally. I'm gonna be so buff you won't even recognize me. What about your family? Are your brothers being good? My little brothers are little punks, but I guess they're doing alright. You both laughed at that. Mom and Dad are fine? That's great, my moms are too. Turning your attention back to your surroundings, you smiled warmly at your family buzzing around. Towels were laid out, and chairs and umbrellas were being set up. Actually, I'm not with my moms right now. Liz and Lee are here visiting too. Ah, that's fun, but if that's the deal, I'll let you get back to it. Are you sure? I don't mind. Uh-huh, I'm sure. I'm not about to lose your number. Alright, bye. Bye, Abika. Have a heck of a day. Hanging up, the conversation left you energized and in good spirits. It was exactly what you needed to make this day even better. You hurried over to your mom's and helped put the rest of the food out. In moments, you noticed Cove at your side. I hope I have that effect on people sometimes. Like, I hope talking to me leaves a lasting effect on a person where it makes their day a little bit better. And that's kind of how I try to be. Because you never know what somebody's day is like, and I always try to leave it better than it was. So what they say? They're gonna come. Cool, thanks for calling them.
No problem.
No problem. I'm glad I thought of it. They'll meet us here later today. Shouldn't be too long. I can't wait. Once the setup was done, everyone got comfortable and dug into the food. You couldn't remember the last time breakfast tasted this good, but you attributed it to the gorgeous ocean view and soothing sea breeze. Morning swiftly gave way to afternoon, and a very recognizable face came walking to the shore. Baxter seemed momentarily surprised to see you all there. He pleasantly approached with a wave.
Hello, folks.
Hello there. I didn't mean to intrude on the party. I was coming down to get some fresh air. Oh, you didn't intrude on anything. You're welcome to join us. We brought plenty of towels and food and sunscreen. Yeah, you're one of the neighbors. Kick back and relax with us.
Thank you.
Well, I can't possibly say no to that. Thank you. Baxter's gaze moved over to you and Cove. He smiled. Ibika, Cove, long time no see. Hi. You waved from where you leisurely sat, and Cove nodded. It was then that Baxter noticed the faces he didn't immediately recognize from around the neighborhood. He turned up the charm even more for the introductions. Excuse me, I'm Baxter Ward. I'm sorry we haven't met before. Well, we're not typically from around this area. Just visiting. I'm Cove's mom. A few giggles escaped Lee as she watched Baxter carefully. When his attention turned to her now, she held out a hand. Hi, I'm Lee. Ibika's and Liz's second cousin. Ibika's and Liz's cousin. Baxter shook it and took a step back. Lee's smile grew. I'll remember that. It's very nice to meet you both. After that, Baxter spent some time getting better acquainted with everyone, and Terry and Miranda arrived excitedly. The conversation shifted to what you all would do next.
In that case,
We could do a few rounds of volleyball. There's plenty of us now.
is that all right?
Could I play? Of course. Miranda brightened, delighted with this plan. Ma looked around to see if there were any other takers. I don't feel like playing. I'd have to change, but it'd be fun to watch. I could be the ref. My eyes won't miss a thing. Volleyball's a good idea, but there should probably be something happening for those who aren't a fan. Ooh, I have some crafting supplies we could use to make jewelry. We could even use stuff we find around the beach to accentuate them.
Really?
What? Really? I want to make a necklace.
That's great.
I'd be interested in trying my hand at that too. Yeah, I could do that. Nice.
Absolutely.
Impromptu crafting is my kind of party. I'd like to join too, please. I want to make some jewelry. Already you were imagining various designs you could make depending on what Lee would let you choose. Your cousin shot you a thumbs up, clearly happy with your decision. Kyra got up from the towel she was sitting on. She brushed some sand off her legs, then stretched her arms over her head.
Can do.
I'm up for a few rounds. Well, since there's still a free spot, I'll throw my hat in the ring. The things I do for family.
Thank you.
Thank you, Liz. I love that. Liz got up from where she was sitting, and you could tell by her expression she was already determined to win. You laughed to yourself, curious now how that game would turn out. Now that plans were settled, the group temporarily split into two.
Okay.
Okay, let me pop back into the house to get my supplies. Anything we can do while you're gone? Yes. You can start clearing out the towels for us to work at, and if you want, look around for good stuff to use.
I'm on it.
Roger that. While Lee ran back into the house, the group did just as suggested. By the time she returned, everyone had their craft area ready to work. Lee sat down on one of the towels and looked up at everyone eagerly. She held up 2 necklace options. I hope you've all been thinking about what you want to make. I have, for everyone, a choice of either a chain or a threaded rope. How do I pick? All I know is that I want to put some sea glass chunks on it.
Charming.
That is a charming idea. Back up from the mic before I... Oh. Good lord, your mic quality is like stunning. His gaze went back and forth between Lee's 2 necklace base options. You could tell he was thinking quite hard about it. I can't decide anything for mine. No rush. I'll leave the strands here, and you can decorate it however you want later. I suppose I'll use whatever I spot around the beach first. Fate can decide. I think I'll keep it a classic, and worry about finding a decent shell.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm planning on doing shells too. Shells, driftwood, stones. I'll just wait and see. You know what? I love shells. But you know what? Sea glass is really pretty. I like sea glass. Great minds thinking the same, we can look together. Happy with that suggestion, you nodded. Cove crossed his arms and chewed at the inside of his cheek. You weren't the only one that noticed. What's wrong, Cove? I'm not sure what to use. I mean, ideally I'd want a shark tooth, but what are the chances I'd find one? Mom smiled. You both looked at him sympathetically. Sorry, the rare downside of not having a shark-filled coast. That would make for a really nice necklace, though.
I know.
At Cove's pouting, Mom gave him a little bump on the shoulder with her fist. Well, don't lose all hope. You never know. You might end up really lucky. Cove laughed, and it cheered him up, even though he really wasn't convinced. After that, the little crafting club busily went to work on their pieces. Whatever they decided on using was attached in loops that were then slid onto their necklace base. Terry was immensely proud of herself when she was done. Hers was simple, but gorgeous, because of the striking piece of sea glass she painstakingly searched for and found. Baxter excitedly showed his finished piece off to everyone. He stayed true to his word and used various materials he found around the beach. His necklace looked like it had a good weight from the clutter. He always had an eclectic style, it seemed. Cove ended up using driftwood of varying lengths to design his necklace. Despite not finding any shark teeth, he still looked pretty pleased. Mom decided on a medium-sized purple ring-top shell as the centerpiece of hers, and Lee went with a few small Simnia shells. They put their necklaces on as soon after finishing them. After combing the beach several times, you found just what you were looking for. It took a bit, but you managed to make a necklace you were satisfied with. It mostly had sea glass. Your group of crafters would also cheer for the volleyball players whenever shouts could be heard coming out of the court. On top of that, you would all hold up a newly made piece in the air, and the players would take a breather to applaud the creation. You really enjoyed searching the beach, trading supplies, and watching everyone make their necklaces. The crafting club was definitely a success, and you weren't the only one that had a blast. The afternoon continued to drift by, but the fun was still going strong. Occasionally, someone would head back to the house to use the bathroom, rest away from the sun, or retrieve something that they needed, but they always came back. The beach was never empty, and there was always a new conversation to take part in or another game to join. At one point, Mr. Holden even broke out his pack of cards. He ripped the whole group into a few rounds of good old Go Fish. There's only one thing that could bring this beach day to an end, and that was for the day itself to end. Before anyone realized it, the sun began to set over the sea. As that happened, you were taking a break, sitting on a towel with your legs stretched out past it and your feet buried in the warm sand. Shortly, you looked to see your moms approaching. They stopped in front of you and smiled. Hey there, kiddo.
How are you?
How are you doing? Doing really good. How about you? We're wonderful. They both sat down, squishing you between them. Ma leaned her head against yours, and Mom started rubbing your back soothingly. Nothing more was said at first, but Ma sighed contentedly. Mom looked at you wistfully. We're both really proud of you, Hibika.
True.
You grew up to be more than we ever could have hoped. Aww. I would cry. I would cry. It wasn't your intention, but their praise took you by surprise. Your bottom lip started to quiver.
Everything okay?
Oh, no, sweetie. We did not mean to make you cry. Ma wrapped an arm around your middle and squeezed you tightly in a side hug, and tears started running down your cheeks. Mom lightly brushed some of your hair. It's okay. I'm just so happy I got to have you as my moms. After that, all three of you were sitting there, sniffling and teary-eyed. You wiped some of the tears away with the back of your hand. I don't know how we got so lucky with you and Liz. Ma reached out in front of you for Mom's hand. She gave it to her and Mom squeezed it.
Of course.
We must have done something right. You stayed there quietly and contentedly, watching the sunset with your parents for a while. Until Mr. Holden called out to you. He was still walking in your direction. We were talking and think we're gonna take a walk down to the shore. Any of you want to come? We're already by the shore, but okay. Automatically, you looked to your moms for what they were thinking. Mom glanced from you to Ma and smiled. That sounds good to me.
That's fantastic.
That'd be very nice. My legs need some stretching. Let's go. Thrilled, Mr. Holden threw out a thumbs up and began heading back the way he came in a light jog. Hey! Don't leave us in the dust! Cliff kept going forward but flipped around, walking backwards across the sand so he could face you
No
again.
worries.
Don't worry, we wouldn't leave without you. Alright, we'll catch up. Ready to go? Uh-huh. Both of your moms held a hand out to you. Chuckling, you gave them each one, and you all strolled back to the rest of the group. When Liz was in reach, Ma used her free hand to pull her into it too. Liz shook her head, but her mouth quirked into a smirk and she didn't resist. Together as a family, you followed behind the others hand in hand. Your feet squished into the wet sand as the waves rolled over them, and you didn't have a single care in the world as more and more stars began to dot the sky. Once the sun had been out of sight, it was finally time to pack up. Closing of the day and the ever-approaching end of summer seemed to intertwine, caused a quiet, reflective mood to blanket over the group. On the beach, Terry and Miranda took turns compressing Cove into a hug, before moving on to do the same to you. You chuckled, still overjoyed that you got to see them today. I'm sorry we have to go already. My parents are here. That's okay. But still, I wish we could help clear all of this up. Don't worry about it. It's just thanks for coming out today. It was cool having everyone here.
Yep.
Oh yeah, I'm super glad we came. Hopefully we can do it again sometime. Nodding, you turned your attention to Terry. Thank you for the booples. She wore a large grin on her face and held out a hand for a low five. You obliged. Take care of yourselves, buddies. After that, they walked away, waving to you and Cove as they went down to the shore. Cove waved quietly back with a small smile on his face. Let's see. Have a safe trip back. We will. Bye. Taking you by surprise, Terry jumped and twisted around. She kept up with Miranda by walking backwards. She kept the mood of your farewell light by shooting finger guns at you and Cove. I love that bitch. Miranda bumped her with a hip. It left everyone with a laugh just before they disappeared down the bend. Ibika?
Come on.
Hey Cove, could you come here? Both of your parents were motioning for you. The two of you went to them. Tons of things ended up at the beach over the course of the day, so there was still so much to pack up, and the parents needed help. With a nod, you got to it, stuffing various things into bags and bundling up in towels. Once things were ready to go, everyone filled their arms with as much as they could carry. Absolutely no one wanted this to be a back and forth kind of task. The walk back home ended up being mostly quiet. Each person seemed to be feeling the effects of the day. The cold breeze carried you across the sand and onto the road. There was a sigh of relief from what felt like the group as a whole. They arrived back to the neighborhood. Baxter carefully placed what he had been carrying on the ground. Thank you so much for helping with that.
Thanks.
No, thank you for allowing me to join today. You all shared with me. Helping to carry it back is the least I can do. Ma nodded, and when others started collecting their things from the pile, Baxter meanwhile stepped over to you and Cove. It really was a pleasure getting to know you both this summer. His head tilted toward you, and he smiled warmly. Baxter offered you his hand. Can I pat? I'm just gonna pat his shoulder. Pat, pat. Shuffling a few things, you were able to briefly free one of your hands to pat his shoulder a couple times. Baxter chuckled, amused you did that. Let's see. Good luck on your next semester at school. Why, thank you. And good luck with your plans this fall. Thanks. Baxter turned to shake Cove's hand this time. He was a little incredulous for a moment, but Cove eventually shifted what he was carrying and took Baxter's hand. It was a long, but it was a solid handshake. Baxter was clearly pleased. I wish we had more time together, but it was still a nice ride. While it lasted, would happily do it all over again. Bye, Baxter. Yeah, bye. Baxter nodded and walked a few steps toward his condo. He then stopped and waved.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Baxter sauntered away completely and disappeared inside the condo to return to his own things. His time with you and your family and friends ending. You paused for a moment, staring at where he went. But afterwards, you looked back over at the rest of the group. Lee and Liz were just going inside your house. You couldn't spot Kyra or Mr. Holden anywhere. But the door to their house was wide open. Mom approached you with an amused look on her face. Seems like you're holding up some Holden things. Surprised, you glanced down to take a quick inventory of what you were holding. Mom was right, some of it belonged to the neighbors. Would you mind dropping it off now? Can do, it's not a problem. Thank you very much. Cove took a few steps toward his house and stopped, waiting for you. Good night, Cove. I'll see you inside, Hibika. Night. You caught up to Cove, and together you went over to his house. Walking in the front door, you saw Kyra and Mr. Holden busily unpacking already. Things were scattered on counters, and they were moving around each other, putting the items away. They both lifted their heads when Cove closed the front door. Hey! It's nice seeing you again already, Hibika. Your teasing tone brought a light smile to your face. You hefted the stuff in your arms a little closer. I ended up with some things of yours from the beach. Oh, thanks for getting that to us. You can put it... here, on that coffee table. Mr. Holden pointed at the surface he was referring to, and you immediately left what didn't belong to your family there. Cove put his own things down on the floor just at his feet, wading through everything strewn about to reach his parents. Putting your family stuff on the ground for a moment, you dusted your hands off and straightened up. You needed a second of rest and a minute to resituate at all. You went over to where the others were too. Kyra opened her arms wide, wanting to hug you. Huggles. Happily, you went to her. She held on tightly. Over the years, you were able to form a good rapport with her, and you were grateful for that. You could feel her hug, how much Kyra had grown to care about you. It brought an affectionate smile to your face. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. It was a blast. It's no problem. I had fun too. Kyra eventually released you, but patted the tops of your shoulders as a final gesture. Every time I've gotten to come by, it's been an absolute joy. Things really couldn't have worked out better. Mr. Holden took a step closer to you. Kyra moved aside to let him say goodbye too. He grinned. Thanks for always being such a friendly neighbor. And not just right now, but for as long as I've known you. I didn't always make it easy, but you and your family are good people. I really, truly appreciate it.
Thanks very much.
Thanks again, Hibika, so much. At that, Mr. Holden reached over and gave you a soft pat on the top of your head. He gave me head pats! Let's see. Huggles. Taking him by surprise, you latched your arms around Mr. Holden. He let out a small squeak and went rigid. After a moment, he relaxed and began to lightly pat your back before shifting into a full hug. You held on firmly. Thank you for being a good neighbor. As you let go, he sniffled, but when he met your gaze once more, his mouth pulled into a wide, happy grin. Mr. Holden was staring at you, but his gaze seemed far away. Maybe he was looking back at who you used to be. The 8-year-old he had asked to be his son's new friend and tried to pawn me off with $20.
See you.
Bye, Hibika. He smiled softly. Then Cove took a step forward. He gestured to his pile of things he had carried into the house.
Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about all of that. I'll put stuff away in a few minutes. Right, I need to go do the same with my family. I figured. Cove walked you to the door and held it open, taking one last check around to make sure you had all of your things to bring home. You went into the road. He leaned his body against the doorframe, not following you out. So, this is it, huh? Actually, that's not what I mean. His expression twisted, and he shook his head a bit, like he was trying to banish the pensive thoughts.
Bye.
I'll just say bye. Bye, I'll see you soon. Your mouth pulled into a soft smile, and you weren't sure who you were trying to reassure more. Cove reached forward and gently cupped your face with one hand. His thumb trailed across your cheek for several heartbeats. Mesmerized by his blue eyes, you stepped forward, delighted to oblige the request he was silently asking. He met you halfway as you smiled into the kiss. It was soft with longing, and your chest ached knowing that there couldn't be any more than this, at least for now. It is bedtime. Let me finish this scene, and I will go to bed. One of his hands grabbed onto the door handle and firmly held it. He was stopping himself from coming along with you. As you walked over to your own front door, you stopped. Turning around, you spotted Cove right where you left him. You laughed quietly to yourself. For a small pause, you both stared at each other from across the street. Oh, this is cute though. This is so me. You put the remaining stuff from the beach down on the step and almost tripped, bolting across the road. The next thing you knew, you were diving into Cove's arms, wrapping your arms around his middle. The force of it all knocked you both loudly into the doorway, but neither of you cared. You both held each other tightly, and you could feel Cove resting his cheek on the top of your head.
Night.
Night, Hibika. He smelled like salt water, and sunscreen, and like home. It was a while until either of you thought to separate. Slowly, you made the trek home and collected what you had left on the step into your arms again. Things couldn't be dragged out any longer. After one more shared smile, you opened the door and went inside, shutting it behind you. A few steps in, you saw your family gathered in the living room. They were still busy unpacking and cleaning. You added the things you brought to the pile on the kitchen counter. Mom stood up, rubbing her eyes a bit. She yawned loudly. I'm bushed. How about we finish the rest of the chores tomorrow? Yes, honestly, it's too late for this.
Thanks.
Please and thank you. Ma put her hands on her hips and turned to assess the room. Ma was not one who liked to leave a mess about, but she sighed.
All right.
I suppose we can make an exception to the usual rule. It has been a really long day. Liz grinned contentedly. Lee wasted no time in skipping over to you and hooked you into a side hug. Good night. I hope you have the loveliest of dreams of you-know-who. Lee ended that sentence with a wink and a hearty laugh. She let you go. Lee's grin widened as you took the bait. Your face burned even more, realizing that. I will be ending soon, but after the scene, I will end. I can't believe you said that. Don't worry, I'm not judging you what you do in the privacy of your own mind. Lee. Sorry, I'm done. Here's to us, Hibika, tonight, tomorrow, and forever. Aww. Yeah, here's to us. Lee stretched her arms high over her head. She yawned loudly and looked at you with tired eyes. I think that's my cue to head to bed. Bye! I think so too. Have fun sharing the room with Liz. She laughed at that and Lee shuffled off toward the guest bedroom. Before you had a chance to do anything else, you could feel the top of your head being tapped. You spun around to see Liz smirking. Nighty-night. I'm heading to bed too. It's been a long day, and I have a lot to plan for tomorrow. Exhaling, you automatically started fixing the back of your hair. When Liz didn't immediately walk away, you smiled softly back at her. Everything okay? Her gaze moved away, and you knew she had more to say. You waited patiently for Liz to compose her thoughts. It's been a good summer. It was nice to come back home. Isn't she so cute? I know you mean Lee. Lee is adorable. Liz is kinda cute too. You nodded, and Liz gave you a teasing nudge as she went by. Amused, you turned and watched her go. Love you, baby sister. My old sister. Liz stopped walking and stared at you for a moment. She smiled softly at you. Get some sleep soon. Morning will be here faster than you know it. I will. When Liz was out of sight, Mom started up the next conversation over her shoulder. Aren't you heading up to bed too? What? Are you sure you can wait? I can't leave a mess. Glancing around the room for a moment, the disarray made you feel a bit twitchy. You had a feeling you'd sleep sounder if you took your time cleaning before bed. Yeah. Ma came over too, smiling understandably. She pulled you into a big hug. Alright, do what you need to do. I love you. When you were done hugging Ma, Mom pulled you into a tighter hug. Their actions basically handing you off to the other. I had you laughing jovially. You've never dated a girl before, but if I did... Oh, Lee. It's with 2 E's. It's L-E-E. She would be your type. Oh, you like the cute and bubbly type, huh? The extra moe.
I love you.
I love you so much. You're the best parents. Aww. Ma's eyes sparkle from your compliment. Mom pulled you into another hug. Good night, kiddo. Sleep tight. Good night, sweetie. Night. After that, your moms headed off toward their bedroom down the hall. You were about to turn the other direction when you heard Mom's voice. And don't let the bedbugs bite. You heard Ma chuckling as you watched them go with a smile. It was a while later when you finished putting everything away. You didn't rush the process at all. Your sleeping hours may have been cut into, but you felt so much better getting this done. You sighed contentedly, gazing at the organized living room and kitchen, before you could take a well-earned break on the couch. Something out of the window caught your eye. Your feet brought you Your feet brought you right in front of the large window spanning the length of the back wall. You stared out into the hills behind your house. As if on cue, your phone came on, alerting you of a new notification. It was Cove. Wanna hang out on the hill tonight? Something told you this was the right kind of night to take a trip out there. You sent him back a quick message. Yeah. Aw, little heart. You went over to the front door and stepping over the threshold, you gave the living room one last glance over your shoulder. Then you shut the door behind you. Silently, you made your way to the Poppy Hill. With light steps in the dark, you walked across the hills behind your house. Up ahead at the very top, silhouetted beneath the night sky, was a familiar figure already waiting there. Smiling, you wondered just how he always got there first. You even had the advantage of living closer. Then again, and maybe it was only in your mind, but somehow, Cove was intrinsically linked with this place. After all these years, it would be weird to scan this horizon and not find him there. As surreal as the shore without the sea. The distance between you was growing shorter by the second. Hearing the grass and the earth crunch under your feet, Cove turned. A grin spread over his face as he saw you. You took your place standing behind him on the crest of the Poppy Hill, looking out over the ocean. Same as you'd done on countless times since he arrived, when you'd found him on this very same spot. Epika. He officially broken the silence, the spell that had held you both in place. You looked at him expectantly. There's something I've always kind of wondered about. It probably won't. I have no idea. I'll give it to 11. I will push it to 11. I'm not sure if I should end it here because I don't want it to end awkwardly in the next episode. That's the thing about visual novels, is I never want it to end awkwardly, and I don't want to start an episode if there's only 30 minutes of gameplay. What did you think about when we met? I was just a kid you'd never seen before, bawling his eyes out on the hill next to your house. Ugh. He chuckled, his eyes drifting toward the sea beyond. before flicking back to you. The way his gaze pulled to you made it clear that he was genuinely invested in the topic. Luckily for him, you remembered what initially struck you in that moment. It was as if it had happened yesterday. Well, I remember noticing your very bright green hair. Cove burst into genuine laughter at your reply.
And then I have to drink more water.
And then I have to drink more water. I guess that's fair, it did kind of stand out. Sighing a bit, you continued to reminisce about that first meeting. I also remember feeling bad about what was happening. I got Popo! Thank you, Miss Valentine. He ran a hand through his hair. You knew this line of questioning wasn't at an end, even before he spoke again.
I mean...
Do you remember what you thought about me? You know, as a person, was I annoying, mean, or... Aw, Brayden, I'm glad to be your background noise. You're so sweet. You always have been. Let's see, I wanted to get to know you. I thought you were special. I just worried about you because you were sad. Let's see. Wanted to get to know you. Cove's eyes widened, openly amazed by your response.
Really?
Really? I don't know what I did to deserve that. It's nice of you. Cove's hand drifted to the scar on his arm, his fingers unconsciously gliding over the mark. It was much less noticeable than it had been when the neon pink cast had first come off, shrunking gradually over the years as his body healed and dwarfed in comparison to his growing body. Still, his fingers came back to it without thinking. That's right, Gift Game Crazy, those fucking shoutouts. Absolutely loves them. I feel bad now. The thoughts I had were, well, considering what you were thinking, I come across as a lot worse as a kid. The foom. You didn't like me?
No.
No, it definitely wasn't that. Cove lifted his head up, committing to meet your eyes fully once more. I remember you that day. I remember it really well. I don't think I'd be able to forget. I can picture the way you looked when I first saw you standing right here. I still know the expression on your face when you chose to sit with me in the grass. He chuckled self-derisively, interrupting his own monologue. You scared me at first. I thought I'd be alone out there until I had to face my dad again, and then suddenly another kid appeared out of nowhere. It was startling, but I got over that fast. You were a strange person in a strange place, but in that moment, you were exactly what I needed. Somebody I could talk to freely about what was happening and how it made me feel. And you listened to me. You stayed with me. He sighed and bit his lip as he gave a small smile. I was a little bit spoiled growing up. He looked off again, seeking clarity for his thoughts in the expanse of the night sky. What I'm trying to say is, when I was younger, I viewed myself basically as the center of the universe, and I didn't even imagine it wasn't like that.
I mean...
Things didn't simply happen. That would be weird, according to my little kid brain. It made far more sense that everything in my life had a special connection to me, somehow. Right? That's very common for children. Children develop the ego way ahead before they start thinking about other people. They think about their perspective first before thinking about others. It's actually a child development thing. I took child development back in college, and I learned that children actually don't learn to look at different perspectives until they're about the age of, I think, 7, like 6 or 7. They start to grow the ability to have empathy for others. He sought affirmation in you, wavy brows raised as he tried to explain his childlike logic. So at the time, you almost felt unreal. Like you weren't just anyone, some other kid who happened to live in that neighborhood with your own whole life that wasn't connected to Cove Holden. No. To me, you were there so that you could find me when I was lost. Though it turns out you're there for that. You were trying to find me because something had sent you specifically to do that. I didn't expect it to be my dad. I guess he knew more about what I needed than I thought. He chuckled, shaking his head as soon as he shook off the thought. I kind of expected it all to vanish like a dream when that night was over. I would wake up and everything would be the same again.
That's...
I'd be back in my bed at home, my real home, with both of my parents. The future was something I couldn't picture anymore. I didn't know what school would be like when I went back, or the table where I'd eat breakfast the next morning, or anything. And if I couldn't imagine it, how could I think it was something actually happening? I couldn't grasp my new reality. It was too big for me to hold it all at once. So I never thought I'd see you again. Then Cove beamed at you, his eyes shining bright. And I never, ever would have been able to guess that 10 years later, when I was a grown-up, the two of us would still be together. Cove returned it fully, sharing your delight. But the smile faded from his face as his eyebrows drew together. That was the worst day of my life at the time. The day my family broke apart. It was too heavy for me to even think about. I felt that way, I don't know how long. He held his hand over his heart, connecting the pain he felt as a child, and looked at you earnestly.
It's okay.
But that was never really true. Things have only gotten better with me, and with Dad, and with Mom. It was the change we all needed. His eyes were growing misty. So when I remember that time right now, it's not the point my life was over. It was only the moment I met the woman I love. When I was crying to a stranger over what I thought I'd lost, and I didn't have any idea that she would be the one thing in the world that I actually wouldn't be able to live without. You won't. Then I would cry. I would honestly be crying. I would be crying right now. Cove stroked your cheek, wiping away the tears with the pad of his thumb. Bika, it's okay. This is your place to cry too. Thank you. I'm happy.
Me too.
So am I. Cove sighed contentedly. His voice was as delicate as the petals on the poppies which crowned this hill. Hey, Hibika, I'm so grateful you always took care of me. You didn't even know what to say back to that. His heartfelt appreciation left you speechless. He tilted his head up, thoughts lost in the sparse clouds above. I wonder how late it is. Guess it really doesn't matter. My dad is fine with me being out whenever. See, your moms might care, but don't feel like telling them.
And then I have to drink more water.
And then I have to drink more water. God, it's such a peaceful moment. And then I have to drink more water. Let's see. My moms might care. I won't tell them either. I know, look at the time. I'm trying to finish the scene, Lexi. I have wiggle room till 11. It's fine. Are you going to lay in the grass now? Wow, how'd you know? Lucky guess, Cove. With a chuckle, Cove plopped down onto the ground and laid on his back, his usual way of spending time there. I know it's all love. You stayed standing, you sat down. I'm gonna sit on his chest again. We're gonna snuggle. I've been offered to snuggle, I will take the snuggles. You lowered yourself against Cove's side in the grass and wrapped an arm over his chest. Cove smiled at you and used his free hand to cradle your face. The both of you fully— Damn! We've been out here since— Good lord! It felt like the beginning of one of your nightly outings, but then you realized the sun was peeking out over the horizon. Cove spoke up with a disbelieving tone. It really was late. Your neighbor wasn't a stranger to being awake at dawn. However, not like this. He was normally an early sleeper, early riser. This unexpected sunrise particularly awed him. The two of you watched on silently as the sun began to light the world. Cove then propped himself up on the backs of his arms and looked at you with a soft expression on his face. You want to go back home? I could carry you if you're too tired. I'd rather stay a little longer. You couldn't resist a yawn, but you were serious. It couldn't be time to go already. Cove chuckled affectionately and gripped you a little more.
I get it.
Okay, but it's been a long day. We've done a lot of things, like, really a lot. It has to end sometime. Since when were you okay with things ending? That made him laugh again. It was a fair question. Since you made me feel better about it. And we can still stay if you want to. Cove smiled brightly at you, as warm as the new rays of sun that were tickling your skin. In that moment, you couldn't have appreciated him being there more. Kissies. You moved your face forward and gave Cove a small kiss. He tilted his head against yours. You're my favorite neighbor! Did the neighbors own him? Good morning, Cove. Gave you a bent smile and went for the opposite sentiment. Good night, Hibika. The two of you remained together on that familiar Poppy Hill where you first met. You were falling asleep. A few more gentle words drifted into your consciousness.
See you tomorrow.
I'll see you tomorrow. Your eyelids dipped, but you felt good. You were safe and relaxed. Everything that had come before this had reassured you of that. You were confident that when you opened them again, things would be okay. You opened your eyes. And so, how much longer is this scene? Oh, cause I do know I have to go to bed soon. I'm scared. Instead of the walls of your room, you were surrounded by open sky. It was not soft pillows and sheets under... You know, I might take the risk. I do have to go. And then what I might do... It's almost done. Okay. Okay. It's almost. Okay. The day welcomed you with the shining sun, a refreshing breeze, and the... I'm at the end. Okay, okay. I just... Defined almost! In the chirping song of birds, you cupped your face with your hands as you sat up, feeling the imprint of the blades of grass leaving lines into your cheeks. Hibika. Hearing your name, you lowered your hands and looked around. There he was, your most influential neighbor, Cove Holden. Oh, look how cute he is. This game is cute. Yeah, it really is. He has made himself very comfortable, laying on his stomach with jewelry and shoes taken off and a flower in his hand. Good morning. Good morning to you too. Cove laughed, tickled with the overall situation and simply being able to spend time with like this. I told you I'd see you tomorrow. Look at that fucking smile. Love this guy. It's the exact same day. It's the exact same day, Cove. We were up until dawn. It doesn't make it a new day now just because we went to sleep later than normal. Then we disagree. Because to me, it's not really the next day until I've been to bed and woken up. I honestly agree. I agree. It's not tomorrow until I go to bed and wake up. But fine. I'll just have to make sure I see you tomorrow then. Probably the day after that too. That way there's no argument. Cove turned his head up to the sky, his expression content. Looks like today's gonna be a nice day. We'll have to come up with something to do to make the most of it. He trailed off, blinking slowly in the sunlight. Someday, when we're even older than we are now, I wonder what we'll end up remembering this moment for. What will we feel when we look back at it? Will it be the same as it's what we're feeling right now?
It's nice.
I can't see what the future is gonna look like again, but I think that's alright. See, I don't know, but I'm looking forward to finding out. Cove turned back to you, nodding in full agreement. He eyed the hill sprawling out before you, and down below, where the wild hill and nature gave way to civilization. Your home and Cove's lay down at the bottom, neatly filed among the other houses in the neighborhood. Cove said nothing, but fixed you with a deliberate and meaningful look. As much as I like it here, it's okay if we leave now. We can always come back to see the poppies and the fireflies again, right? Cove met your eyes, waiting for what you were going to say in response. Let's see. It really is going to be another nice day. He didn't know where that came from, but Cove blinked slowly, his eyes still locked on you. Though, you didn't need to see his face to know that he adored you. If there had been any room for doubt, the tender way he spoke would have filled it up. You're one of a kind, huh? Feet for free? Combe beamed at you. His expression was so unlike the one he'd worn when you first found him here, swaddled in sadness and uncertainty. Yet you couldn't help but glimpse that boy once more underneath his bright expression and matured features.
Come on.
Come on. He offered you a hand. You accepted it. Your palm fitting around his. Cove lifted himself up, pulling you along too. Free? Our parents are probably gonna come.
And then I have to drink more water.
Water time. We've got to make our own call, and I say, we can't hide away forever. Poppy Hill is just one part of things. There's more out there for us than this time and this place alone. Let's enjoy it. You couldn't say whether you were the one that broke into a run, if Cove had been the one to start it, or if your feet had simultaneously made it that choice for you both. The end result was the same, with the two of you dashing down the hill like children, but with the nostalgic revelry that could only come as an adult. As the wind whipped past you, you knew that family and friends were waiting at the end of your sprint. There were more memories to make after all. Life takes another step forward. Oh my god. That's the end. That was so good! Smelly, if you're listening, I finished it! Thank you for the recommendation! We have finished, guys! We have finished the game! There it is, well, we finished the base game. This doesn't have any DLC. We've done it! We finished it! And right at 11, like I said. Right at 11, chat. Aren't you? See, you had nothing to worry about. You had nothing to worry about. And yes, it has been so fun. It has been so fun. Yes, and nice to timing. Nice to timing. And Brayden, you got to watch a little bit of the stream. You came in at the end and you got 30 extra minutes. Fantastic. I love having you in the stream, Brayden. I love having all of you in the stream, and it was such a fun experience. I look forward to playing some DLC. Step 4? I thought this was step 4. And I'm seeing lag. That's okay. It's only because so much shit's going on right now. As an epilogue. Oh, okay. Was that only step 3? I could be wrong, but if there is more, then I will just... easy peasy, I'll just plan another episode. I love the game, I'm not gonna step around playing it. But yeah, I really enjoyed this game. It had so many supporters, and it's clearly very loved, and it's a labor of love. Wow. Holy cow. It's a game with so many choices, so much heart put into it. The writing is super good. And the songs are so good. The music is so good. The emotions are real. Like, there were some moments in there I would just tear up, especially the parent parts, because when my family tells me that they're proud of me, it makes me tear up so bad. I'm so sentimental. But alright, Jorvik, thanks for joining the stream. I hope you have a fantastic night. I hope Oh my god, Koa! Hey Koa, have you been lurking? Have you been lurking? Thank you for prepping the raid messages, Lexi. I'm gonna go look for a raid while these fantastic credits roll. But with that, I will call it here. I hope everyone enjoyed the stream, and thank you so much for tuning in. You know that I love the company for my dearest pride and joy, my Gestal. If you like the vibe, please subscribe, follow, or buy me a coffee if you're feeling flirty. Any donations go directly toward the stream. Don't forget that you can join the Discord using either links on my Twitch or YouTube channel. You're always welcome to Discord. There you can, like, have fun, chat around, just behave yourself. And you can also recommend games for me to play or movies for me to watch on movie nights whenever I get around to that. I do love this song, though. I love it so much. Alright, let's see. Who to raid? Who to raid? I think, honestly, I haven't raided Penelope in a while. So I think we're gonna go to her. Looks like she's playing some Kingdom Hearts. So, that is what we're going to be doing. So, without further ado, let me go ahead and start this raid. Alright, tomorrow is Awaria, so look forward to that. Alright, there we go. But did we get all the raid messages in? Yes, we did. Okay, perfect, perfect. Stick around if you wish for the raid, guys. But if not, I wish you all a good night. Sleep tight, and remember, tomorrow is another day. Nankurenai-sa. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.